Evening, it is 6:10 and calling the El Centro City Council meeting to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Elliott,
Present.
Councilmember Marroquin,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Camarena,
Present.
Mayor Crancha.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Councilmember Monaghan, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. Hand over your hearts. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Carter, will you please lead us in the invocation?
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you gracefully, just saying thank you. We ask you just to go from the east, the north, the south, and the west, Lord. We ask you just to bless the El Centro, not only El Centro, but bless the whole Imperial Valley, Lord. Bless the United States of America right now, for everybody is crying out for you, Lord, and we need you. Bless the decision-making up here between my colleagues and I, Lord. And this we ask in your name. Amen.
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 City Attorney, do we have anything to report out in closed session?
No reportable actions from closed session, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, thank you. One note on the agenda, we'll be moving item number 12 behind item number 8. Logistics will work out better for that. And with that, for public comments, the City Council welcomes your input. At this time, members of the public may address the City Council on any matter not listed on the posted agenda pursuant to the Brown Act. No action will be taken on any issue brought forth under the public comments. We ask that you please complete a speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk prior to the start time of the meeting. Although you are not required to identify yourself, this information on the speaker slip assists the mayor that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized, and also assists the city clerk in preparing the city council minutes. Unless the mayor extends the time, there will be a 3-minute time limit for each public presentation. Any information provided on the speaker slip is voluntary and would be part of public record. At this time, I have a few blue slips. A couple of them are associated to specific topics. I will call them when those topics come up. But for right now, if I could have Captain Freddie Miranda and Joaquin Sobrano.
Good afternoon. My name is Captain Freddie Miranda. Mayor, council members, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak today. I understand that funding decisions are very difficult, and I do respect the process. My purpose today is simple: to clarify what you would be investing if you partner with the Salvation Army. We operate under a 3-tier system: prevention, intervention, and integration. And we are already doing the work in the city. In the area of homelessness, our meal engagement program serves as a consistent access point to individuals experiencing homelessness. But it's not just the meal, it's relationship building. It's identifying needs. It is connected with individuals to IDs, benefits, case management, housing referrals, and much more. We already have the facilities. We already have community trust. We already have volunteers and the operational infrastructure. What we lack is the ability to scale. With funding, prevention means rental and utility assistance to stop families from becoming homeless in the first place. Intervention means expanded outreach and rapid rehousing, moving people from engagement into housing. Integration means walking with them after placement so they remain stable. Housing someone is step one, stability is step two, and we are committed to both. The same three-tier model guides our youth programs. Prevention means structured after-school hours during the high-risk time of day, academic support, and music education that builds discipline and identity. Intervention means mentorship for at-risk youth with need, guidance, and structure. Integration means leadership development, workforce skills, and long-term community belonging. This is not simply programming. It is prevention of future homelessness, prevention of crime, and preparation for employment. The Salvation Army brings established infrastructure, financial accountability, facilities, volunteers, and a long-standing trust in this community. We're not asking to create something new. We're asking to expand what is already working today. If the goal is measurable impact in homeless reduction and youth stability, we're positioned to deliver. With partnerships, we expand prevention, increase housing placement, strengthen families, and build stronger youth. Thank you for your time and your consideration or reconsideration of both of our grants that we have submitted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, council, attendees. My name is Joaquin Zambrano. I am the Director of Operations for Whole Person Care Clinic. It is a nonprofit organization running several programs, including recuperative care and street medicine. And the reason why, I came here with Captain Freddie and Michelle was to, just lay down that support with this potential grant. Our street medicine team has been out here since 2024. And, we've been working a lot more closely in 2025, kind of with the same objectives as Captain Freddie spoke of. I think having that opportunity to join forces would really impact the community from now and until we can obviously continue fostering all the movement and just the assistance that we need for our community members. We talk about how the things that they would be able to accomplish with that funding and how our organization can supplement it with medical treatment, getting them off the streets, kind of going with the model that we have an objective, being from street to home. So, I will have an opportunity to speak to a lot more of the leaders this upcoming Thursday, thanks to Mr. Sawyer. And, hopefully it gets taken into reconsideration to help out. There's great nonprofit that's been around for many, many years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Seeing that the other two blue slips that I have, is there any other speaker slips at all?
None other, no.
Oh, thank you. Then we will move on to presentations and announcements. Presentation from IID. I'm not sure if this is our person, Sabrina?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No, can we give a quick? While they're pulling that up, I'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, Mayor Crenshaw, City Council members, city staff, and members of the public. For the record, my name is Sabrina Barber. I'm a manager of distribution services and maintenance operations with IID, and I'm joined by my fellow manager, Tim Hamilton, who heads our IID's energy optimization and resource planning unit. We're here to provide a brief project and program update for the city of El Centro, what we've been doing on the electric system side, and where we're supporting community programs and local development. I'll start with a quick overview of IID's electric system and responsibilities, then cover public benefits funded programs in El Centro, and finish with a snapshot of customer projects that have been completed in 2025. Throughout the theme is coordination, IID working alongside the city, schools, and local businesses to help keep reliability and support growth. IID serves a large geographic territory and operates a summer peaking system. So planning for high heat, high demand, and reliability is central to how we invest and operate. We serve over 166,000 customers, operates 1,780 miles of transmission and 5,004 miles of distribution lines. We also have over 2,100 megawatts of generation capacity. In the Imperial Valley, we operate 42 substations, and in the Coachella Valley area, we operate 25 substations. These are what ultimately feed reliability and capacity at the city level. When we talk about energizing new loads, supporting EV charging, or improving public facilities, this backbone is what makes that possible. IAD is vertically integrated, meaning we plan, build, and operate generation, transmission, and distribution. So essentially, we're one operator end to end. This matters because local control can mean faster coordination on upgrades and outages. It supports integrated long-term planning and creates a single point of accountability for reliability and adequacy. That structure ties directly into our responsibilities as a load-serving entity. To that end, IID is a registered load-serving entity, which essentially means we're directly responsible for ensuring we have enough capacity and resources to meet customer demand reliably. What that looks like in practice is that we are responsible for procuring power and managing power purchase agreements, managing retail electric supply to our customers, and meeting regulatory obligations. This is a no surprises approach. IID plans ahead so growth and extreme heats don't compromise reliability. Here's the risk management rule that we use when we build that resource plan. Per IID risk policy and balancing authority requirements, IID procures resources totaling 115% of our anticipated annual use. That planning reserve is how we protect reliability, especially in the summer peaking environment, while we manage our costs and market exposure. In terms of defining the terms quickly, PPAs are long-term contracts, whereas market refers to shorter-term purchases. The goal is to balance portfolio that's reliable, compliant, and cost-conscious. Now I'm going to go ahead and shift from system obligations to community-facing programs, which are funded through our public benefit. As a publicly owned utility, the IID collects a non-bypassable public benefits charge, and it can only be used for specific public purpose categories. The charge is currently set at 2.85% and is set aside in a restricted account. Low income, in terms of the allowable uses, the only thing that we can allocate those funds for are low income assistance, energy efficiency, renewable resource investments, and then research and development for new renewable technologies. These funds are dedicated, so when you see grants and customer assistance, they're tied to these legally defined public purposes. Here are some examples of those investments within the city of El Centro. IID awarded a total of $44,000 through the Tree for All Public Green Space Grants. In terms of breakdown, the El Centro Elementary School District received $35,000, whereas the St. Mary's Catholic Church received an award of $9,000. These projects support shade, livability, and heat mitigation, which is especially important in our climate. This is an example focused on lighting efficiency and performance. IID provided a $70,000 GLOW grant to Central Union High School District for sports complex LED lighting replacement. LED upgrades generally improve lighting quality and reliability while reducing energy use and maintenance costs. This is a good example of public benefits dollars supporting facilities that communities actively use. Similarly, this program targets HVAC improvements, often one of the biggest energy drivers in public buildings. Through GEMS, a total of $498,000 was awarded within El Centro. In terms of recipients, IID was able to fund projects at Central Union High School District, El Centro Elementary School District, including the De Anza Magnet School, St. Mary's School, Imperial County Office of Education, and McCabe Unified School District. HVAC upgrades improve comfort and reliability for students and staff, and they reduce operating costs, freeing budget capacity for services. This is exactly the kind of measurable benefit public programs are intended to deliver. In addition to facility grants, IID also provides direct bill and emergency assistance to eligible customers. These programs are designed to help income-qualified customers maintain safe, reliable electric service and reduce disconnections. The slide is a little busy, but to summarize, READY provides a 20% bill discount to qualified customers, and eligible seniors can receive up to a 30% discount. CARE provides financial assistance for customers who are facing disconnection for non-payment. SHIELD supports eligible seniors with high medical expenses with a 30% discount. And our EASE program supports customers using prescribed in-home medical equipment. If council members or staff have constituents asking for help, our team can connect them to eligibility screening and enrollment by either calling our 800 number at 1-800-303-7756 or emailing publicprograms@iid.com. I have also left business cards with the city clerk so that you have all of our contact information. This is a sampling of customer and community projects IID supported in 2025 across commercial development, public facilities, parks, and electrification. Rather than read every item, I'll kind of highlight the theme. These projects represent ongoing investment and coordination, specifically service planning, construction, energization, and reliability support. Many of these require close communication and coordination with the city of El Centro, so we really appreciate the efforts and support that we've gotten from your team in the areas of planning, inspections, traffic control, and right-of-way considerations. This set of projects includes school EV charging stations and additional commercial charging, showing continued momentum on transportation electrification. It also reflects ongoing commercial load additions and service upgrades that support jobs, services, and customer convenience. And these next slides will go through some quick visuals of several of these 2025 projects. The Maverick gas station is an example of a commercial development we supported in 2025. IID's role is typically making sure that all these service requirements are met, capacity, safety, and timely energization so projects can open and operate reliably. From the city's perspective, coordination helps keep schedules aligned and impacts managed. The Swarthout Field lighting replacement project reflects the kind of infrastructure upgrade that improves usability and safety while also improving efficiency. IID coordinates on the electric side so that lighting upgrades perform reliably, especially during high demand seasons. This picture reflects the project at the Jacaranda Garden Apartments. This is a multifamily housing that has unique reliability and safety requirements, and we work to ensure service is appropriately designed and maintained. The practical outcome is dependable service for residents and predictable operations for the property itself. Here is the extension of the Renaissance subdivision that was completed in 2025. This is another good example of how IID supports housing growth in terms of planning capacity, coordinating construction timing, and ensuring safe energization. We aim to keep new service work aligned with the development schedules of the projects to help avoid delays. Here is the El Centro Police Station, which I think is personally beautiful. Its critical facilities demand a high level of reliability and coordination. Public safety can't afford avoidable downtime. So we partnered on planning and service needs so operations within the city of El Centro can remain resilient. This is Buena Vista Park. Public parks are quality of life infrastructure, lighting and power access directly affect safety and usability. So IID supports these programs by ensuring safe code compliant service and responsive coordination. This here is a picture of the new CHP or California Highway Patrol facility. This is another example of supporting a state partner facility. Again, reliability and safety are always a priority. We continue to meet operational requirements and keep service dependable. Here is the El Centro Library EV charging station. This project combines a community anchor institution with electrification, providing charging access in a convenient public location. IID's role is to ensure that the charging infrastructure is supported by the appropriate electrical service and operates safely and reliably. Here is the Town Center Village. Commercial centers often involve load growth and service coordination again across multiple tenants. Our focus is to ensure capacity and construction sequencing support business operations and customer experience. Here is the El Centro Elementary School District EV charging station. This is a school-based EV charging project, which is something that we're seeing more and more commonly. Supporting fleet needs to be done to meet future community electrification. School sites typically require careful coordination around access, safety, and scheduling, especially during the academic year. So these can pose additional challenges, but we work very, very closely with the cities and the schools to ensure that all those needs are met. Again, here's the Central Union High School District EV charging station, building local readiness for transportation electrification. IAD supports the electrical service needs, so charging is dependable and scalable. And another electric vehicle charging, this is the Tesla charging station at the Imperial Valley Mall. This is a higher visibility EV charging location, which supports residents, visitors, and regional travel. From a grid perspective, the key is planning and delivering the right service capacity so charging demand is supported reliably. Here is another Tesla charging station, this time at Target. Same story here, supporting EV infrastructure where people already shop and spend time. These sites require careful load planning and coordination so that the added demand is integrated safely. Here's the Dairy Queen that represents ongoing commercial growth and service needs, projects that contribute to local jobs and amenities, which are important to all of us. IAD's role is straightforward, safe, timely, reliable electric service to support operations. And here is Dunkin' Donuts, another example of local commercial development supported through coordinated service planning and energization. These projects may seem simple, but the success metric is always the same, keeping the timelines on track and the service reliable. Lastly, here is Wingstop. This is the final example, continued commercial activity and customer additions in 2025. So we were very happy to bring this online. I know this is one that posed a little bit of delays, but we got it across the finish line. So very happy about that. With that, that concludes the snapshot. IAD remains committed to reliable service and strong coordination with the city as projects and community needs evolve. I'm happy to answer any questions, whether on reliability planning, public programs, or how we can communicate or coordinate on future city projects. Tim, you want to add anything? Any questions?
Council, any questions?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your
Well,
time.
I will tell you that I took advantage of the tree for all.
Oh, great.
Your little trees had leaves on it. My little tree just sort of.
Yeah,
twigs.
some of them were dormant already. I apologize. They kind of looked like a little stick. I promise it will come back.
It looked like Charlie Brown's Christmas there, so but it's all good.
Yeah, the deciduous trees, the leaves will fall off, but I promise they will come back.
We're excited. We're excited. So thank you for the information.
So
Excellent.
Can I also add, to that, I so much appreciate the GEMS HVAC grant funding program that's available. St. Mary's School, because I'm the business manager at St. Mary's School.
Excellent.
And so we applied for 2 rounds of that, and we were able to replace very old HVAC units that were no longer working, or the ones that we did have working were not efficient. And so I was so happy to see the new round that came out. And so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we receive more fundings to now start working on replacing old units that are approximately 10 years old, that I know that we can, that are probably using up a lot more energy than is necessary. And so, thank you. The school is a nonprofit agency that, there's no way that we could afford, to replace all those units, but with your help, it's been possible. So thank you.
We're happy to do it. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Those older units will
Mhm.
operate much less efficiently, which
Yes.
means higher electric bills. And that takes away from the
Yes.
ability to spend that on your students and provide those services that are so meaningful. So I'm glad
Yes.
you were able to participate. We're looking to continue that program as long as, the money is there. So we certainly see the value in it and appreciate
Mhm.
being able to roll those dollars back out to our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Have a great meeting.
Okay, we'll be moving into consent agenda. Items 2 through 7, it will require a motion to move forward.
I'll move to approve the motion. And I will second that, please.
Motion passes 5-0.
Very good. And now we'll move on to new business. Item number 8, discussion regarding the 26-27 Community Development Block Grant CDBG proposal received. Presenter Adriana Nava.
Hello, Honorable Mayor and Council. The item before you is the CDBG summary of proposals for the 26-27 funding cycle. So this next upcoming fiscal year. And so as you may recall, I think we've discussed a couple of times some of the things that we've been working towards as we move to today's meeting. So we've done the summary where we discussed with council some of the priorities that you had a few meetings ago. And then we also discussed public participation and what was done as part of not just our plan, but how we implemented that plan by having different public outreach workshops. And just as a little recap, we did do a request for proposals. Some of our proposers are here. We do invite them to the meeting in advance. We tell them so that they know that none of this is a surprise for them the day that they're here. And just as a recap, it's the purpose of CDBG is to benefit at least 51% of low and moderate income persons, aid in the prevention or elimination of slum or blight, or meet other community development needs having a particular agency. And we always use COVID as an example because that is the one time we've been allowed to use that last objective. And before we decide on the activities, just two things to note. That the first is that there is a 20% cap on program admin, and then a 15% cap on public services. And I think this is one of those that becomes the greatest challenge is the 15% cap on public services is always, these are CDBG funds. There have been other times where council has elected to use different sources of funds to fund other public service that when we weren't able to come to a consensus. And so I'll start with, we always start with the prior year allocation. And so we don't know how much we're going to receive this next fiscal year, right? But we always use the baseline is what we were funded essentially this last year. And this last year we were funded, I'm going to get closer to this. We were funded $502,738. And what we received, and again, here's the public services 50% cap. One of the activities is a required activity, which is fair housing. For that, we have allocated $25,000. And then these were the other programs we received a request for funding. So Catholic Charities requested $25,000 for their food delivery to homebound seniors. And then we have Catholic Charities also requested funding for the Homeless Day Center in the amount of $25,000. El Centro PAL requested funding for the recreational program in the amount of $15,000. Imperial Valley Desert Museum requested funding in the amount of $7,500 for an after-school youth enrichment program. The Salvation Army requested funding for structured after-school enrichment program as well, serving at-risk youth ages 8 to 14 in the amount of $26,000. And then we had the Salvation Army also request funding in the amount of $23,000 for street-based mobile outreach and emergency support services. So these are the amount requested. The total amount requested was $121,500, and the amount we have for public services is $50,000. So the request definitely it has a much greater amount than what we have available. As it relates to public facilities and infrastructure, the project that we are submitting is for the 8th Street Lighting Project, which would be to provide street lights all across 8th Street. And we determined we could do approximately starting at Aurora and moving north towards Sandalwood. So we think we could do those amount of lights. And then as it relates to housing activity, this is in support of one housing rehab project. So right now we have funding through HOME, but HOME doesn't allow you to use with their funding lead-based paint, asbestos removal, or sidewalk in support of that unit. And so we have allocated $25,000 for that. Code enforcement is one of the prioritized activities that you've historically funded in the amount of $55,000. And then program admin, which is the cap 20%. And that's what we have allocated in the amount of $100,547. So in reviewing these proposals, staff presents to you a recommendation and council can decide how we're going to play with the funding that we have available. So in looking at the programs that have been successful over the years and looking at ability to deliver the services, the proposals that we ranked as the highest scoring were Catholic Charities, the Homeless Day Center, and El Centro PAL. For some of these are fully funded, others are not, based on the amount of funding that we have available, which is $50,410. Any questions so far?
You have
Anybody?
more of a presentation? I'll hold mine till the end.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So moving forward, I'll move to the next slide. So in short, this is the amount we have available, which is $500,738. $100,000 is going towards the 20% program admin, 15% public services, which is $75,410, and then other eligible projects, which is the infrastructure, housing, and court enforcement in the amount of $326,781. Okay. And then looking at the activities, so the required activity by HUD, which is fair housing, we're funding it in the amount of $25,000. And then looking at the previous activity, Catholic Senior Nutrition, we just gave you a recap of what had been funded in prior years. Same thing regarding the Homeless Day Center, what was previously funded, and currently we don't have any funding spent because we're in the program year and they usually bill us towards the end. El Centro PAL, in the past they have submitted and they had not been funded, and this year they're requesting funding. Desert Museum, $7,500. This is the first time submission for the Desert Museum. As mentioned as part of the first slide, one of the requirements is benefiting low to moderate income persons. So you would have to qualify each individual student who's interested in participating in this. We have found this to be, practically impossible in a school setting where you would have to say you're eligible for this program and you're not because of the income qualification basis. As it relates to the Salvation Army Building Brighter Futures program, they have identified it as a structured after-school program, enrichment program serving at-risk youth. And for this one, in El Centro Elementary School District, because we used to have a similar program, the school district provides this service free of charge by the El Centro Elementary School District. Their program is called Aspire. Secondly, with the social services program, emergency support for mobile outreach. We had previously been instructed that we wanted individuals to go to a specific location rather than to practice just street medicine on the spot. And so that's pretty much all I have. And the rest is just recommended activities for council to consider, deliberate, and provide direction.
Thank you. Council, questions?
Yes. I'm glad to see that El Centro PAL, they got funded. That's really good. Catholic Charities, I'm glad to see what they do as well. My question is to Salvation Army. Have you guys ever received monies before or applied for monies before?
My understanding, no.
No. And then to the council, have you guys ever gone to Salvation Army? Have you ever been over there to see what they consist of or what they offer or what they do?
Not recently.
I go to the thrift store.
I'm okay. I had the honor of going and serving Thanksgiving meals with them and Christmas meals with the Salvation Army. And also, they packaged up food for hundreds of people. And due to my hand, I wasn't able to help, but I don't do excuses. So I took my daughter and my son-in-law with me, and they they worked really hard doing packaging up food and stuff. So I say that to say this, that I think that this is my recommendation. We should actually try to give them a try as well. Um, I don't know, maybe we can move or shift money somewhere where we can advocate for both of them or for all parties. Could we go back to the slide, Adriana, please? That's my recommendation, just to, right here. Okay, because they're asking for 2 programs, and you're saying for the after-school one, because of the El Centro School District, they wouldn't, but they are asking for the homeless. They do outreach. They do. I'm up for suggestions from the council, but I'm just recommending that we do help them out some type of way. We move some money somewhere and try to help them out.
If I may, Adriana, maybe you can help us simplify this at the top of your chart there. How much totals is allocated for these the public services total?
It's 50,410.
50,000. So 25,000 is already going to the promote fair housing activities, the first line.
No,
No.
that's separate. So you have 50,000 for all
Okay.
of these. Yeah.
So it is 50,000 divided up a bit,
Yes.
with the rest of the public services.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. Which is still a lot less than what the ask is.
Yes. And again, this is the opportunity for council
Yeah.
to discuss
Yes.
and let us know how you want to divide the resources available.
I have a question. It's just actually a clarification. When the gentleman was up here speaking about Salvation Army, he said he asked for a reconsideration. So you were already notified that you were denied, or?
No, we invite the different members of the community who submitted a proposal to let them know that the staff report is available and the recommendations that we have issued, because that's public information.
So they saw the recommendation that they were
Yes,
denied?
yes. They're not denied.
Oh, okay.
Council makes the final decision. We provide a recommendation and council makes the final decision.
Okay. I'm going to state that also, going back 5 years, I've seen that, well, before I go into that, I noticed that the method of notification that the city utilizes is notifying an established list of previous recipients, if that's what it stated there. And I know that not all of our nonprofits may be in this line of work, but it's my understanding that we have upwards of 200 nonprofits.
Yes, we notify not just via mail, but we also notify via the internet where we post everything.
Yes.
We also post in the newspaper. And then in addition to that, we host 2 public workshops. So we hosted one at the Adult Center, one at the council chambers, and I believe Salvation Army was in attendance in one of them. So we definitely make an effort to reach out to as many individuals as we can.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a suggestion before a statement that utilizing what information we have available as far as the nonprofits within the city, that maybe we can come up with a general notification, not just with the ones that have participated, in addition to all the other work you're doing, because that would also assist.
I believe Mario has an alert system that he's been
Yeah.
that he's been working on, that we could also do it through that as a form of
Yeah.
outreach. I can't remember what it's called, but that's another way of doing that.
Yeah, that'd be great. But going back, researching, I think what I remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we've been giving, I think the last 4 or 5 years, the monies regularly to Catholic charities. And I think it's important that other entities and nonprofits that may not be getting federally subsidized monies and so forth, or donations and so forth, also be considered. I think it's important that we continue to fund the Homeless Day Center. That is something that we know that there's a need in with where they're at and so forth. But I would agree with Councilmember Carter about moving some of the monies around. El Centro PAL was not a recipient, I think, for what, 1 year?
2 years.
2 years?
2 years.
Yeah,
Years.
I think there was also Measure P funding that was allocated for their work, I believe, a couple of years back. And then also through the foundation, we funded a portion when there was a gap in funding. And so there are other methods that the council has decided on when there wasn't enough funding available.
Okay. But right now, I think we're just talking CDBG. So right now, I just want to say on this funding mechanism that it hadn't been taken into consideration. So I'm in agreement with, and because of the statements that the individuals made here, especially, I'm confused about when you said we don't want people getting street medicine or we refer them somewhere.
No, street medicine as in
You mean-
giving people assistance on the sidewalk rather than going to a specific location.
So we don't support any of that as a city.
No, it was, when we went over the council priorities, that wasn't discussed as one of the priorities that
Okay.
council decided on.
But the city does approve of the services that the other gentleman was from the whole.
I think that's a
can weigh in on
council-based
that.
decision.
To a certain extent, no, because there are encroachment issues
Mhm.
that occur within the city. There's been facilities that have the best intentions that provide quality services, but are popping up on the sidewalks of El Centro. Those are not permitted, and we've contacted each and every one of those and asked them to refer to the proper means to distribute it. So no, we have not endorsed that or approved that in the past, where they will set up a pop-up tent on the sidewalk with a table and provide services in that manner.
But the one-on-one, we still do, right?
We try to refer to an in-house service. There's a number of organizations that provide services in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
But our goal is always to try to provide them wraparound services to a facility, just
Okay.
not in the form of a pop-up tent on the sidewalk.
So with that being said, I think that it gives more importance to me to be able to do the mobile that the Salvation Army is stating that they do. So I would like to recommend, or I concur with Councilmember Carter as to how much to split at least, or look at the 25,000 from the nutrition center and do half at least.
You're suggesting, Claudia, say that again. You're suggesting
Half
how
of
much,
the
how much for these?
12.5
to Catholic
12.5.
Charities and 12.5 to the Salvation Army
Which one?
on the 25,000.
For the first one, because for the second one, it's for
For
the.
building brighter futures?
No, for the
Social services.
services.
Thank you.
Because they do well with the shelter, the bathrooms, the
So-
shower, the laundry. Yes, that's definitely needed because a lot of people utilize that.
So with that said, what our city manager just reminded us of, then they would have to drop the roadside, what was it
Mhm.
called? Street-based.
They don't do that though. The other gentleman says that he's the one that do that. The Salvation Army is just doing street-based mobile outreach. That's why I said that it clarified it for me, because they're not doing street medicine.
They're
And I was
partners in the
Yeah,
proposal.
they're partners, but they're not the primary, right?
Right?
Is Salvation Army primary to this?
Yes, yes.
To the street
Salvation,
medicine?
in their proposal,
Uh-huh.
when we reimburse, all of it would go to Salvation Army.
No, yeah, I know, but they're the applicant, but they're not the primary, they're not the distributor of the medicinal
medicine.
street medicine.
I think we can ask them on.
We're in partnership with them.
Mhm.
And any triage or anything that they would do in our facilities, not our machines.
Okay, thank you for that.
And I say that because the 25,000 is granted as full. And like I said, it's been 5 years. I think it's important that the community see that we are also taking other organizations into consideration instead of what appears sometimes to look like it's just the same thing. And some people don't get subsidies from the government and some do. And that's why I was touching earlier about being able to reach everybody, because some of them, they're not well versed in this thing on notifications and so forth. But that would be a whole other thing. But right now I'm just saying that would be my recommendation. And 5 years, I think, is it 5 years they've been awarded the grant?
I think so, yeah. And I think Catholic Charities is also here. I don't know if they want to comment on this. I haven't reached out, but I don't know if they want to comment on this as well.
So can I? Oh.
Well, go ahead, Sylvia.
So this is that we're aware of. Are there any other programs that deliver meals to homebound seniors?
No, but I don't know about the programs that exist, so
Yeah,
I don't want to.
But,
Yeah.
but predominantly Catholic Charities has been doing this, and they've got the knowledge, the experience, and the personnel to provide services to those homebound seniors that probably would not be able to go out and get a meal. Would, maybe this is a contact with the person delivering is maybe one of a few people that they would see within a period of time. And, this is where we also have to take into consideration our senior citizens that, cannot leave their home because of health issues, minimal transportation issues. They don't have somebody that that is a support system that they can rely on. So, I have always been a proponent of the senior nutrition program because of those reasons. And so my vote would be to leave as is, not drop it to even half of that, because as we all know, the cost of food has gone up. And so that would enable them to continue the program, throughout the fiscal year.
Money so they utilize.
The homeless day center, okay, is another service that we have here that, and I know that the Salvation Army also provides meals, but are they, have they thought about maybe partnering, with other service organizations, to do this? Because from what my understanding is they provide meals, but they don't provide the other services that the day center offers, such as, the shower, ability to take a shower to take care of their own personal hygiene, the laundromat facilities, the meals, beginning with breakfast, lunch, and a to-go dinner. And so I would again advocate to keep that. I know Centro PAL, we have other sources of funding that support youth activities throughout the city. And so, this is something where, we might consider dipping into those other funding sources. And I know that the Salvation Army also mentioned many of the same services that the IVCCC is also out there, performing. And, has Salvation Army, have they been in touch with them to see if they could be subrecipients of the funding that IVCCC receives from, the state of California that's funneled through the county? So this is where we are, to me, it seems that we're fighting and duplicating services, and we're fighting for the same pot of money, where I think that there are other agencies that they can partner with to do the same.
I'd like to say that it is, I don't consider it to be a duplication of services. It's that we're a high need valley. And every organization contributes because a lot of the organizations become overwhelmed. IVCCC is the umbrella over all of these that they all imply. They don't independently go do it. There's all these organizations and offices under it. But I stated, and I don't know if everyone agreed with me, I would continue to grant the monies that are suggested here for the Homeless Day Center. Looking at the nutrition program, going back to that, is that maybe I can get a clarification from the staff here. You have $20,000 for miscellaneous that's not named. What is that for?
Mhm.
And is food, are you given subsidies by federal government for food subsidies?
From what I understand, I'm sorry, I don't have it written down in front of me. The majority of food comes through our donation programs, and then we get some from AAA, Area Agency on Aging. But yeah, the majority is coming from AAA and then the CDBG funding as well. And like Councilwoman said, the purchasing of food is going up significantly. And so to continue providing quality meals to those seniors that are high need, the cost of food is high. And so that 20,000 really does support the continued service to those seniors.
With the, and you know, I know it would look pretty hard up here, at least a couple of us for the seniors, and we understand that, but the past years, from what I read, you'd serve approximately 40 a month of the high need. This is the ones that you drive to their home, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Correct.
40 a month. And in the last 2 years, there's been between 80 to 100 short of the numbers you state that you will serve, but yet the numbers remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not because of that number, and this is your chart,
Mm-hmm.
with the number not being met of the people that you're anticipating on serving. That's why I looked at it, and I looked at the numbers, I looked at miscellaneous. I see paying the 5,000 for staff and supplies and personnel expenses and so forth, and taking that into consideration, that the numbers aren't being met either, that you projected for 2 years. I feel comfortable saying that giving half, which is still more than the number, is a good gesture in being able to help other agencies to be able to also meet their needs. And at least just for 1 year, it's been 5 years. So I think for 1 year to see how it goes, because I understand the price, we all do, food has gone up, but when you take into consideration, 40, the numbers here that haven't been met for 2 years, projected versus served, that's what I'm looking at here. And so it's, that's the hard thing to be able to see. I know it's very difficult, but if looking at the amount and at the amount of monies requested, because the allocation was requested at 25,000 and awarded at 25,000, where others have not been. So that's why I'm saying it appears that we could at least be able to move something because of that.
Because we're not saying that the Homeless Day Center doesn't do well. They do supply,
that's
they
why I'm not
help the
touching that.
homeless. They do. But we're just saying, as far as giving somebody else an opportunity and just half, just to try it, just to
I would
see.
like to, it's not a motion, but I'd like to recommend for us to think about $15,000 for the senior nutrition program, 25,000 for the homeless day center, and then 10,000 for PALS. That would be 50,000. That would be the total allocated.
So before we continue, I do have a blue slip on this as well, that someone in the public would like to speak. And then as we get a little bit further into it, if we do a detail, I also have a few comments, but I'd like to call up Mr. Rodriguez, who put in a public slip for this.
Good evening, members of the council and the audience. It's nice to have a discussion on the needs of our community. As a former employee for the County of Imperial, I've actually dealt with elderly individuals connecting to services, Meals on Wheels. I've actually seen how that experience has actually helped that individual who happen to be homebound and doesn't have a strong family support system, like my mother does, 600 relatives. So I don't have to ever worry about meals for her. But for individuals that are really isolated, zero transportation, I think those meals do help, especially those social interactions. I see the value of, ladies, of your comments. I also see the work of what Catholic Charity's done, because as a football referee in the east side of town, I can go there. I'm not feel threatened. It's safe. It's a wonderful community. I can see the environment has changed, and it's because programs that you guys have voted on. The work is really when you see kids can play, and they don't have a lot of police around them. Okay, and that's a credit to you guys. Now, if you can find some extra dollars in your budget, because you guys know it better than me, and share a little bit of more of the wealth to kind of make halfway meet your goals, to balance everything right, I'll be happy with that. Councilman Elliott, great suggestion, and it's nice to see your minds working on behalf of the betterment of the community. I really appreciate all 5 of you on this discussion. It's healthy. It is in the best interest of the community, but the work on the east side, I got to referee a game Thursday. The last one. It's been a blessing to be there for those weeks I've been out there, because I know it's a safe community, because the community, you guys, as part of the community, elected officials have done the work. You should go out there Thursday at 6:30. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. So if I may, I have a couple comments and then a couple questions, Adriana, for you as well. So I share that same sentiment that it's healthy, that all of us are, this is a wonderful problem to have, is that we have funding that we want to get to the community, and we want to spread it out as evenly as possible so it touches. We are trying to be mindful, fiscally responsible, as to make sure that we're not either there is a group that maybe doesn't meet the requirements, or that we're not duplicating services. I find it difficult, because either these kids are going to go here or they're going to go there, and either services is going to provide them with that. A couple things factually, this amount of money is a projection from this last year. It could be, and this is not a typical amount. This is a little bit higher than typical, correct?
We're basing it off the previous year.
Correct.
Typically, our allocation has been reduced. So yes, but it's a slight amount.
So how the council votes, it would be reduced
Proportionally,
accordingly
yes.
to the same
Yes.
groups that.
Yes. Remember, it's 15% of whatever we receive is the cap.
requirements
Yeah.
and the caps, okay. And then if all of it doesn't get spent, is this a rollover?
Yes,
with
we
some
can
funding?
reallocate, but remember, then the following year, it's still only 15% of whatever the amount that we have.
Okay, so that's good. There was a comment in regards to notifications. I will tell you that from a staff point of view, I would imagine that you can only do what you can do, put it out there on whatever media platforms are out there. And really, in my mind, if I'm a charitable, I'm going to be hunting that money. So I'm going to be looking for the different entities that would provide that money. And so it sounds like we did a pretty good job about putting it out there, trying to get some public input, trying to get some public information. Not everyone's going to be able to get on that. I get that. I'm not opposed to kind of breaking down a little bit and seeing how this all works out. I mean, I think every one of these are worthy. I do like the fact, and I do concur with the same Andrew, that street-based mobile outreach is dicey in my mind when we're trying to be able to make sure that we can not just serve the community, but then also capture that information. So we are knowing that, that's part of the assessment program, is that we are reaching the people we're trying to reach. So I do like the fact, if I heard you right, sir, that Captain, that this social service portion of this would happen at your location. Okay, so I appreciate that. Okay, I want to hear what anyone else, but there was a few things I want to clarify some information. I think we did that, and then also put out a few statements of my own. So with that, I don't know if the council wants to discuss this further, or do we want to put a proposal out there? I know that we have a couple different thoughts on this. I'm not sure how we will lock this down to a number to quantify this, but I'm willing if you are.
Is there a deadline, Adriana, or anything that
Right
tell us
now.
about that?
Right now. We're not doing this again.
Thank you.
Just kidding. We can, but we like to stay on schedule because this process is grueling. So we like to just make sure we get it all addressed.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Appreciate that. She means it.
when's that next deadline?
Urgent, huh?
When is that next deadline?
Annual action plan submittal?
September, but we still, it's a process that we started in October.
Yeah.
And it ends, it's
Okay.
a couple year process to get to these amounts.
Yeah, CDBG is extremely stringent. I mean, I've been dealing with this for years now, even prior to coming on board on the council, so it's like I was working under CDBG funding for a program that we were doing. So, I know how particular
Yeah, it's
they
very
are and
specific.
how long things, the process takes, so that's, time is of the essence, right, Glenda? Yeah, so.
Motion?
So, well, we haven't come to, are we,
Do you have any other
Are we-
suggestions?
I'm ready to make a motion.
I would just start with this. I mean, if you do whatever you
What
want, but
suggestion?
I would, we'd, throw something out to discuss.
I don't want to mess with PAL because PAL has been denied 2 years in a row
Yes.
and they deserve the monies that they're receiving. So I do not want to mess with them. And I know that the Homeless Day Center, they do, I hear really good compliments about people being able to take a shower and do their laundry and support that. And I am for the seniors, definitely. However, seeing the numbers here, like Mayor Pro Tem, suggested, the numbers are plain right here. This is telling us who they're serving, and I think that if we do split it in half and give Salvation Army half, just so we can try it and keep them with half, and then let's just try it. But that's just my suggestion.
Also, Adriana, I have a question. I know that we've been saying about finding monies to be able, like you said, with PAL. If the nutrition program were to surpass the numbers that they are anticipating, would we be able to supplement them as well with those type of monies?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
So would we, like you were saying that with PAL earlier, that we were able to supplement them with monies the last time to be able, there was.
Yes, we
Okay.
used, on one occasion, we used Measure P funds.
Mhm.
That was one where we allocated to the
Yes.
different leagues. And then another time, they requested, I believe it was something like 10,000 and 8,000 came from CDBG. And then through the foundation, we did like 2,000.
Okay.
I'm making the numbers
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
but you understand the majority of it came from CDBG and we were able to do that.
Okay, and so my question is, if there were a need and they were to surpass what the service numbers have been for the last 2 years, would the nutrition program be able to be supplemented in the same way?
No, we don't do performance-based metrics. This is something they report from the previous year if you've been awarded, right? So it's a benchmark they decide on for themselves. We don't say, hey, you didn't meet your benchmark, so you're out. That's not something we've ever done with any of our subrecipients. We put numbers out there so that the council can have just objective information. A number is a number, right? We don't know how our other nonprofits right now will perform because we don't know. Same thing, we've, for example, I'll give you Sure Helpline. Sure Helpline in the past would request large sums of dollars, and when they would come to council, that amount would be reduced. Their goal was to serve 250 people. At the end of the day, they served 4 or 5. Well, we also reduced the funding that they had requested. And so how much can you do with the amount that you're receiving?
Yeah.
It's proportional.
I'm not asking, I guess I'm
Yeah.
not asking.
Yeah.
I'm just asking that if somebody has the ability, like you supplemented PAL, they had a need aside from this. I'm assuming it's aside from this. They had a need, the city supplemented.
Yeah, the
with
council can
grants.
decide to do
So
it.
we can do that with anybody else.
Oh, yeah, the council
Okay,
has
that's what I'm asking.
as it relates to funding,
Yes.
council can decide
Okay,
what.
so that's what I'm asking.
Well,
If their numbers increase, this is what you're
Yeah,
saying, then we
that
would
we
be
can
able to
sep-
allocate what they didn't. I
so
understand that.
in this case, we have a certain funding source
Right.
that is very specific to this.
To this.
So
Mhm.
I would ask one question if I could, Captain Miranda. This might be a little tough on you, but you have two organizations or two areas that do you find one to be more, I shouldn't say needy, because I think it would be presumption, but
Essential.
yeah, where you would like to, if there was some funding awarded, was there one or both of these programs that you hold higher than the other, or?
Miranda, can you step to the podium? Thank you.
And again, sorry to put you on the spot, but you're on the spot.
I wear many different hats.
Yes, sir.
When I'm in social services, that is the priority. In the afternoons, when I'm in the after-school program, that's also my priority. I see them equally, but honestly, right now, homeless services, I think, may weigh a little heavier.
I appreciate your candor on that. I know that's a tough split that you have to do, but just for informational for the council to know. So, thank you, sir. Is there further discussion or any questions to Adriana? Someone want to?
I'd like to
like to-
just make a suggestion and to put out something to discuss. It's not a motion, but what if we allocate senior nutrition center 12,000, the homeless day center 25,000, PALS, then you could split 13,000 between PALS and the social services, Salvation Army Social Services. You could split that, 7 and 4 or 7 and 5. I mean,
May I say something? I think that splitting the amount requested by, for the senior nutrition program, splitting that in half, I think would be detrimental. So it's like, I think the lowest that I would suggest that we go is 20,000 to help with the cost of food. And then if you're considering the Salvation Army Social Services component, giving PAL 10, and then there's 10 to Salvation Army.
I really don't want to see PAL touched again. They haven't received anything.
Okay, well then,
I'm saying.
They have not seen any CDBG funds in the last couple of years. So for me, these are serving a number of our children to
Lot
be
of
able
them,
to
yes.
have team building, physical health, mental health, so much benefits to seeing our children be able to play sports, and not even mention the individuals who volunteer their time to serve them. And yeah, I don't see anything on PALS for salaries or staffing. And so I just don't believe that PALS should be touched personally. I agree that the 15,000 with PAL should stay. As I stated, the other two have been awarded consecutively for 5 years. I agree with the Homeless Day Center funding, the 10,410. And then my suggestion for the Catholic Charities, again, only because it has not hit the benchmark. And the 20,000 is based on a full grant being given with an anticipation of the numbers that are projected. That's the whole thing here. I'm willing to go to suggest 15 for Catholic Charities Nutrition Program and 10 for Salvation Army. Social services, the homeless.
Okay. Councilmember Carter?
I agree with that. Is it a motion
Well,
or is it a suggestion?
we're getting close, hopefully.
Can you just
So
do a
can we
recap?
clarify that, Claudia? Can we clarify
It
that?
would be
10 for,
leaving PAL at 15,000
yes.
Yes, not
because they
touching
have not
PAL,
received
yes.
anything. And they're always the first ones to, the
Yes.
last I've heard, they were always
Yeah,
cut.
yeah,
Okay,
go on.
Homeless Day Center, leave at the request, the
25.
suggested,
Yeah,
no,
10,
it's
it's 10.
10,410. You're looking.
It's
at
in the second
wrong
column.
column.
10,000, sorry.
Yes, I think you
And
got it.
then the nutrition program was requested at 25 and suggested at 25. And I'm willing to leave that. My suggestion is 15 and give 10 to Salvation
Good
Army, Social Services,
social
as an act of good faith.
I'm going to just go down the line, okay? 15,000 nutrition, day center, 10,000, PAL 15,000, Salvation Army, social services, 10,000.
Yes.
Yes. That's a suggestion.
Homeless Day Center would be 10,410.
And I'd like
Yes.
to,
There you go.
Yes.
can I suggest, the senior nutrition at 18,000 and the Salvation Army at 7,000?
We have old-fashioned bartering going on. We're on the council dais, so.
It's just difficult for me to see an agency awarded so many years and that we don't have to be able to make a good faith effort in the community to help someone else who hasn't received. Others have stayed years without receiving. And while I understand, like I say, had it not been for the numbers that I'm looking at, it wouldn't have been an issue.
It's right here in plain, yeah.
Well, I would say that we probably all have a different variation of racial in our minds. If someone would like to actually put a motion up with what they want to do and see how this votes in, I think that might
I'll
be.
make a motion.
Could you repeat the amounts again? Go down the list.
Okay.
I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So senior nutrition program, $15,000, day center, 10,410, PAL, 15,000, Salvation Army social services, 10,000.
That's on the right column.
So that was a motion?
No, she read it by, I'll just repeat it as a motion, I guess. I make a motion to award the nutrition program $15,000, a homeless day center, $10,410, El Centro PAL, $15,000, and the Salvation Army Social Services branch, $10,000.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
Motion passes with 3 yes and 2 noes.
Motion passes. Adrienne, do you have that?
Yeah.
To some extent.
No, I think we have it. I think the numbers are clean. These,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Actually, I thought that that was a very healthy discussion. Okay, as stated, we are moving item number 12 in. So if we could, and I believe 12 will be, is that you, Adriana?
yes.
That's why we're here. Thank you. Discussion related action regarding the extension to the agreement with Catholic Charities Diocese of San Diego San Diego for the Working Hands Workforce Development Program. Adriana.
So I'm going to give a little bit of context that's also referenced in the staff report, but for the sake of the public record. So this project is funded through the Permanent Local Housing Allocation Fund. And the city was informed, I think it was back in 2022, that we had this funding that we hadn't tapped into, and it was by SCAG. And so after looking at all the things that we needed to do in order to access these funds, over the next couple of years, we're programmed to receive about 2.77 million. And so with the state, the funding is not just a free-for-all, right? We have certain things that the state would like us to achieve. So we look at all the program activities. Based on the eligible activities, we look at what we can do. So this is an ongoing funding source for the city, and this is funded through SB2. So when documents are recorded, when people are buying a house, a portion of that goes to the state, and then the state provides us the funding based on the number of recordings that we had in our county. And so in November 22, we had our 5-year action plan that was adopted, and it was decided to fund one of the activities, which is activity 6, to assist persons who are experiencing or at risk of homelessness. And so for us, this was important at the time because we had worked on our strategic plan. And the city's strategic plan included pretty robust public outreach. Even though it was COVID times, we did a lot of in-person, mass, social media outreach. And one of the primary things that the community spoke about, if you look at both of these, the word in the center is homelessness and different variations of it. Of if you were in charge, what would you change about El Centro? And it was identified as our number one thing that people would change in our community. And then what are the most pressing issues and challenges in El Centro facing the next 2 to 5 years? Again, that homelessness was identified as one of them. And so this was a method of homelessness is such a robust problem that we have societally. This was a method of trying to achieve or putting a hole in it. And so in 2024, there was some work that was done to get to this workforce development program. And so through this, the goal was to support economic opportunity and advancement for people experiencing homelessness. And the way it was done is to target employment opportunities and provide job training to individuals who were experiencing homelessness. In partnership with Catholic Charities, we could reduce resource demands on the local homeless system. And I did a little bit of research, and so it looks like, according to CalMatters, which they said themselves that it was very difficult to pinpoint, but the cost of one homeless person is $35,000 to $50,000 in California based on the amount of resources they take up. And so the strategy of the program was to integrate workforce development with homeless services to improve access and maximize employment and income resources for these individuals. And so the program, what it does, it provides temporary employment opportunities for individuals who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. We have a cleanup schedule that is in your staff report, the different locations they go to. This is one of the images is Buckland Park, cleaning up a Ramada. And so in addition to the cleanup, the other parts of it are employment stabilization, so helping people with their resumes, housing identification through the form of vouchers and making contact with landlords, and then financial literacy, setting up your Social Security account, a bank account, et cetera. And so that's what I have for you on the context for the program. But Antoinette Bellin is here. She's with Catholic Charities, and she will be discussing some of the program deliverables of what they've been able to achieve since the contract implementation.
Good evening, Mayor Crankshaw, City Council members, city staff. Thank you all for having us here tonight. I'm short, so maybe a little bit better. So the Working Hands program began in September 2024, and we have 5 people enrolled at any one point in time. Since the program began, we've had a total of 17 people enrolled. Some of them chose not to stay enrolled for a variety of reasons. But of that 17, 6 people haven't obtained employment, and 1 additional person is in the final stages of securing a job. So soon to be 7 out of 17. 9 of the 17 Working Hands participants have obtained housing, 7 through rapid rehousing, 1 with their own income as a result of their involvement with Working Hands, and 1 person ended up reuniting with family members where they could be permanently housed. And I think, you know, I can talk about our dreams. I do believe those may not sound like big numbers when you look at the total scale of the community, but I think in terms of really having an impact on the people who have enrolled in the program and chosen to stay with it, that impact has been significant. I can stand here and talk about numbers, but here with me tonight is the program manager, Peter is here, and 2 of our Working Hands participants. And what I wanted to do is give them a chance to talk a little bit about their experience. And then I can also tell you that maybe since I'm up here, I'll go for a minute. We looked at this program a year in and thought, okay, what have we learned in the first year? And one of the things we learned is that by screening a little bit better, I think we have a lot of people who are interested in enrolling, and we gave them a chance and we maintained a waiting list. One of the things that I would like us to do, and we've already started doing going forward, is when we onboard new Working Hands participants, making sure that the people we enroll are people who are also interested in achieving some of those other outcomes like employment, like securing housing. So that's one of the changes we made. We also brought on, because Peter is only one human, we brought on another assistant manager for the day center, and that person will oversee a variety of things, but their primary focus is the Working Hands program. So we can really double down on our efforts in this area and do a lot more engagement. So we tried to learn from our experiences, and that's where we are right now. So I'm old. You don't want to take my picture. Sorry. It threw me off. So rather than me, I will be here, but rather than me talk at you, I would like to give 2 of our Working Hands participants, Vanessa and Laura, the opportunity to tell you a little bit about their time in the program and what this has meant for us, for them. Come on down.
Hello. Good evening, members of the City Council and the community. My name is Vanessa Lara, and I'm here today to share a little bit of my story, the part of hope and renewal. I have retail management experience and a strong background in leadership, but over the past 8 years, life circumstances led me to homelessness and a long period of time away from work. Thanks to Catholic Charities and the Working Hands program, I now have the opportunity to rebuild my life while also giving back to our city. Through Working Hands, I am helping to clean and maintain our parks and streets, making our community a cleaner and safer place for everyone. This experience has renewed my confidence and has provided me with a sense of purpose. It has shown me that no matter how difficult life gets or the wrong decisions we may make in life, there are various paths to recovery, and programs like this, like Working Hands, are essential in providing hope and second chances. I'm extremely grateful for Catholic Charities and for the city's support for initiatives that help residents like me regain stability, while also being able to contribute positively to our community. Thank you again for your continued support and for allowing me to speak here today. Also, thank you, especially a big thank you for believing in the potential of all of our city's residents. Thank you.
Muy buenas noches, mi nombre es Laura Angélica Ávila Castro y es para mí un honor estar delante de ustedes.
I'll be translating. Good evening. My name is Laura Angelica Avila Castro, and it's an honor for being here in front of you.
Así como mi compañera Vanessa, yo soy resultado del programa de servicio a los homeless, personas sin hogar.
Like my co-worker Vanessa, I am also in the Working Hands program.
Yo emigré de otra ciudad, de Colinga, California, que está a una hora de Fresno, California, y me vine con mis 4 hijos. Soy cabeza del hogar, como todo lo que corresponde y conlleva esta responsabilidad como madre.
I come from Colinga, California. It is an hour away from Fresno, California, and I came with my 4
hijos.
With my 4 sons, and I am head of household.
Me encontré en esta situación sin hogar, sin trabajo, sin conocer más que a una sola persona, mi prima.
I found myself with no home, no job, and I only found myself with one relative, my cousin.
Ella me ayudó hasta donde pudo, pero ya no pudo darme alojamiento por mucho tiempo.
She helped me with what she could, and she was only able to provide shelter for a short period.
En la escuela Lincoln supieron de mi situación y me refirieron a varios lugares donde me podían dar apoyo, y fue así como llegué a Caridades Católicas y conocí el centro de día.
At Lincoln School is where they learned about my situation and they referred me to Catholic Charities.
Ahí me refugié. Sí, ahí es un lugar de refugio y de descanso.
That became my home, and that is a place for us to feel comfortable, safe, and that's where I belong.
Donde te sientes atendido, comprendido y apoyado, no juzgado.
Where you feel safe, where you feel understood and not judged.
Donde te reciben con una sonrisa y te dan una palabra de bienvenida.
Where they receive you with a smile and a welcome everyone.
Donde te dan alimento, te puedes bañar, puedes lavar tu ropa, secarla y poder estar dignamente.
Where you receive meals, where you could shower, you could wash your clothes, everything.
Fue mi lugar de refugio y descanso. Estuve allí por 1 mes y medio asistiendo todos los días.
That was my place of refuge and a place for me to rest. I was there for a month, 1 month and a half, going to the day center every day.
Y por agradecimiento de tanto apoyo, lo menos que podemos hacer nosotros es limpiar el lugar, y así estuve que se me presentó la oportunidad de trabajar en servicios de homeless.
And for her to demonstrate the gratitude, one of the things that she did the most was help with the cleaning, and that's how she got introduced with work.
Y es limpiando parques, calles de la ciudad y paradas de autobuses.
Which includes cleaning the parks, cleaning the bus stops, and the city.
En este tiempo yo me sentía muy mal y como si estuviera en un pozo donde no podía ver la salida.
When I started, I felt trapped and I couldn't see myself growing.
Sin casa, sin trabajo, cada vez me sentía que me hundía más y más.
Without a home, without work, I felt like I was drowning.
Se vive una desesperación que no sabes para dónde voltear porque no se ve nada.
You live a distressful life because you don't see a way to go out.
Se vive desánimo porque piensas que que aún no mejora nada, que no se está solucionando nada, sino que la situación es más difícil porque pasan los días y las necesidades aumentan.
You feel distress. You feel like there is no growing, like if you're stuck in one place, and it is difficult when you have four children.
Uno se olvida de uno mismo, no vemos nuestras necesidades y las ignoramos, pero nuestros hijos, ellos tienen necesidades que deben ser suplidas y no se deben ni se pueden ignorar.
One could live many different things, but when you have children, they have necessities. They please so many different things, and one feels like those things cannot be ignored.
Son emocionales, son mentales y aún físicas. Estas necesidades aún más nos lleva al desánimo y sin esperanza cuando no son suplidas.
This is very stressful. This is very makes me feel like there's no future, there's no strength in growing up.
Y también se vive una inseguridad. Llega a uno creer que es incapaz de salir adelante, comienza a atacar a la estima y crees que no eres capaz de poder lograr sobresalir.
This makes me feel very insecure, and one begins to believe that there is no growing, no achieving other things and that you're always going to be in the same place.
Comienzas a pensar que no eres suficiente para salir adelante y no puedes salir de ahí. Ya no puedes ver la salida.
You believe that there is no going ahead, and you cannot, and you feel like you feel in distress. You feel there's no going up.
También se vive la frustración y el cansancio emocional, físico y mental.
You feel the frustration. You feel the emotional distress. You feel mentally and physically.
Porque aunque busques y toques puertas, hay obstáculos.
Because even if you knock on doors and if you look for other type of resources, there's always going to be obstacles.
En mi caso, por tener 4 hijos y yo, era muy difícil encontrar dónde dormir, no había lugar para nosotros.
In my case, because I have 4 children, it became very difficult for me to find a place to sleep and for me to make them feel more comfortable.
Por eso llegué a estar sin hogar como homeless.
That's why I became home. That is what brought me to become homeless.
Es una situación que no se la deseo a nadie.
It's a situation that I don't wish anybody had.
Llega un momento en que uno te pone a llorar en el carro donde nadie te ve, lloras como un niño desprotegido, sin consuelo. Crees que no hay salida.
It becomes a point where you cry in the vehicle. You don't cry in front of people, especially in front of your children. And it's just a feeling that that you feel that you're always going to be stuck there. There is no way out.
Pero cuando más hondo me encontraba y creía que literalmente me ahogaba, se abrió una puerta, una oportunidad.
When it got to the point that I felt like I was drowned, a new opportunity opened.
Me lanzaron la cuerda de ayuda. Esa cuerda es la que dieron ustedes.
They threw a rope, and it was It was the door that you guys opened up
a Caridades Católicas,
to Catholic Charity.
al servicio de homeless, y me la lanzaron a mí.
That rope was thrown to the homeless, and she caught that rope.
Y estoy muy agradecida por la cuerda de ayuda.
And she's full of gratitude towards that rope that it was thrown out.
Y ahora me encuentro fuera del pozo de la desesperación
Mhm.
y del desánimo y de la inseguridad.
Now she feels grateful that she found the light, and she's able to, and she feels she doesn't feel in that hole.
Y me encuentro con una nueva oportunidad. Hoy puedo ver el sol brillar, que brilla para todos.
And she feels with another with an opportunity that she could see the light, and it's a light that she wishes that everybody,
Para buenos y malos.
for good and bad.
La vida está llena de retos, pero así como hay de retos, no podemos huir de ellos.
The life is full of obstacles, but the way life is, we have to live with the obstacles.
Así como hay retos, así mismo está la ayuda y la salida para cada uno de ellos.
The way there are obstacles, there's also always a way out.
La vida es muy hermosa.
Life is very beautiful.
Solo tenemos que mirarlo con buenos ojos.
We just have to see it with beautiful eyes.
Este trabajo ha sido para mí
This job has been for me
restauración. Me ha ayudado a recuperar confianza,
it's helped me establish trust,
me ha restablecido la seguridad
security,
y algo que ustedes no se imaginan.
and something that you guys don't imagine.
Cuando estamos trabajando en el parque
When we are working in the park
o en las calles de la Main,
or in the streets of Maine,
nos encontramos a personas lindas como todos ustedes.
we find beautiful people as you all.
Y más de la tercera edad,
And more seniors,
que se detienen de caminar,
that they stop
nos
from
miran,
walking,
nos miran a los ojos y nos dan un gesto de amabilidad con mucho amor y nos dicen,
they stop, they see us, and they show their gratitude.
muchas gracias por limpiar el parque.
And one of the things that they mention is, thank you for cleaning the park.
Gracias por tener este lugar limpio.
Thank you for having this place clean.
¿Trabajan para la ciudad?
Do you guys work for the city?
¿Y les pagan por esto?
And do they pay you for this?
Nuestra respuesta es claro que sí.
Our answer is, of course we do.
Y es un placer para nosotros limpiar.
And it's a pleasure for us to clean.
Ellos muestran gratitud
They show gratitude
por nuestro servicio.
for our services.
Ustedes no se imaginan
You guys don't imagine
que estas palabras
that these words
llegan a nuestro corazón.
go to our heart.
Un simple gracias
A simple thank you
nos alegra,
makes us happy,
nos motiva a seguir esforzándonos
motivate us to continue
con más gusto,
with pleasure
porque nuestro trabajo
because of our work.
realmente está siendo
Because of our work is really recognized.
reconocido, apreciado. Esto es lo que levanta a cualquier persona su estima.
Our work is very appreciative, and it lifts us our self-esteem.
Y su seguridad de sentirse útil.
And the security of us feeling helpful.
El que aprecien y valoren tu trabajo y tu gran esfuerzo
When they appreciate your work and all your hard work,
es lo más hermoso.
it's the most beautiful.
Y esto es lo que hacen ustedes
And this is what you make
en apoyarnos a nosotros.
in supporting us.
Dando la soga para que salgamos del pozo de la desesperación.
Helping us get out of the hole.
Agradecemos por ustedes
We thank all of you
porque invierten en muchas partes de la ciudad que hacen que no nos imaginamos. Agradecemos porque ellos invierten mucho en la ciudad, en las partes de la ciudad.
We thank all of you for all the support and all the support of us cleaning all the parks, pavements, construction, and the city of El Centro.
Sin fin, apoyan de muchas maneras.
You support in all ways.
Y agradecemos mucho porque lo necesitamos y la ciudad se ve cada vez más bonita.
And we feel that the city of El Centro looks beautiful.
Y se aprecia mucho. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Pero tuve un consejero muy sabio americano de Michigan,
I had a counselor from Michigan,
Arturo Meixel,
Arturo Mixel,
americano.
American.
Me dijo una vez algo que nunca voy a olvidar.
He told me something that I'm never gonna forget.
Me dijo, Laura, la mejor inversión que puedes hacer en este mundo
Laura, the best thing that you could do in this world
es invertir en otra persona.
is help another.
Gracias por invertir en nosotros,
Thank you for trusting us,
mi familia,
my family,
mi hija Jael,
my daughter Jael,
Natanael, mi hijo,
Nathanael,
mi hijo Miguel Ángel,
my son Miguel Angel,
mi hija Luz Divina
my daughter Luz Divina,
y yo Laura.
y yo Laura, I mean, and me Laura.
Les estamos muy, muy agradecidos.
We are very thankful.
Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a speaker slip, but I want to make one thing. It seemed like you were not, the last speaker wasn't quite prepared with a statement. So I thought you just winged it up here, but no. It was very touching to hear that, both in Spanish and English. So thank you very much. And with that, I would like to call Mr. Peter Rodriguez up to speak on this topic.
Thank you, Mayor. As you can tell, there's Davis, speak it all. As someone who cycles in the city of El Centro, uses the restrooms or referees on McGee Park. The restrooms are very clean. Just people like them stepped forward and did the job. The standard is very high and it is professionally done. Be proud of these people that spoke. I know I'm inspired by them already. And it's true, they started off tough start, but they put their feet up, stood up. And no one gives them enough credit for what they do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know if there are any further questions for Catholic Charities on this item. The item before you is, it's a contract. We do have a contract with them. This was established as a pilot program where we'd say year by year, you'd go to council based on the deliverables and the performance, then council would consider the agreement whether to extend it or not. These are recurring, we have a recurring services agreement. And so their contract ends February 20th, 2026. And so we are at the point where they came and explained the deliverables for the last months that they've been performing. I believe they started in September. We started the program in February when we signed the agreements, and then in September was when they actually begun the program because it took time to establish it. And so I don't know if there are any further questions from the council for Catholic Charities.
May I make a comment?
Sure, absolutely.
So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this program began as an idea that came to me because I had served on the homeless task force for probably about 4 to 5 years at the time. one of the goals of helping unsheltered individuals is to eventually get them housed. But, many individuals are not, they can't become housed until they're able to sustain, the housing. And so, in order to provide an opportunity for them to get off the street and to go to and be employed, and to give them again that sense of self-worth, to restore the integrity that they probably lost during the time that they were unsheltered, and to open up the that sense of that they are worth, the opportunity to, to have a second opportunity at life, is where, this came from. I remember saying that even if we were to just to have one person, get them off the street, get them a job, housed, and restore their self-worth, their dignity, and get them back into society, to where they can not only become productive citizens, but hopefully also regain the connection with their families, and regain that the trust and the self-worth that they might have lost, when they became homeless. I know that, you become homeless under many different circumstances. And, this was the goal, with this program. And as we've heard this evening, with 2 testimonials, can you imagine if we were to hear from the rest of the individuals that have not only been employed, but become housed in this? We'd probably be crying a river here tonight. And Laura and Vanessa, I just want to, say that I'm extremely happy for you that you were able, to come out of the situation that you were in, and that you are now on a path to recovery. And, it's just like, I know that, I don't want to cry, okay? Because, but it certainly, as Laura was speaking, I was, the tears were dwelling up in my eyes. Because, she also had her 4 children that she had to, care for and worry about. And so, for us to be able to, continue this program, would not only open up, continue to provide them with income, but open up the doors of opportunity for other individuals that are also unsheltered. And, one thing that you pointed out during your presentation, Adriana, is that, being unsheltered also taps into the city resources, because many of these individuals, they need, as a matter of fact, I saw an incident that happened on the corner of 8th and Ross just the other night, where a homeless individual was, the fire department had to come to their attention, because it looked as though they were injured, or something was wrong with them. My niece is a nurse at ACRMC, and she was sharing with me, that even homeless individuals that come into, they take up, a lot of the resources, that they have, and, we can't turn them away. It's just like, and we've got to help, one another and help our neighbors. And that's, the reason why this program came about, because we had to try to provide opportunities for, those people to turn their lives around. And, what a better way than to also have a partner such as Catholic Charities that, not only provides them with, a place to eat, a place to shower, a place to wash their clothes, but also provides them with the services of, building a resume, helping them find the housing, helping them find a job. And, it's just like, if we were able to help, those individuals that Antoinette named, during her presentation, if foregoing this program for another year would also be, it it would be detrimental to, to our unsheltered individuals out in the street. So, that's why, for me, I advocate to continue this program, because can you imagine, how many more people we could help? So thank you.
Is it 8 o'clock?
I was like, who is that?
It's 8 o'clock. Take your vitamins. It's usually the alert.
Ahead of you.
I've learned that.
Councilmember Ellis, did you have any comments or on this at this time?
Maybe the director can answer. How many homeless are in your program currently? Could you go to the podium so we can record this? Everyone can hear you that way.
We enroll 5 people at any one point in time, and it's a very simple logistical thing about how many people fit in the vehicle. We also have to look at our staffing, because while we pay for our team members during the time that they're working on the working hands, we could enroll more people, but then I would need more employees. And so people's time is kind of split, where they do working hands in the morning, they help with some of the case management in the afternoon, but then they have other responsibilities. So, but
Where
it
do
really,
these-
it has to do with how many people we could.
Where do
fit in the
these
vehicle.
5 people currently live in your program now?
Well, 2 of them are here with us this evening. 2 of them just enrolled yesterday. We did actually I'll be honest, we did a little bit of a reset. My buddy Peter over here was out on leave for a little while, and so I was out here, and that was how we got to the place where we decided we were going to take a little pause on enrolling new people and try to do some different screenings. So the 2 people that just enrolled today, I don't know. I think they're probably unhoused, would be my guess. And there was one is staying with his sister. And then there was a 5th one who I think did not show up today.
Maybe one unhoused, one with a relative, and then the other 3.
Well, 2 of them are here with us.
Yeah, but I want to know where they live.
Where they stay.
Oh.
How, are they
They're
homeless?
housed. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Sorry.
You can.
I was homeless before I started working at, and cafeteria, part of Rapid Housing, their program Rapid Housing. I was enrolled in that, so they housed me for about 6 months. And then because of working hands, I'm able to pay my rent now. So I have no process right now, but I'll sue.
And I believe you are paying your own rent. Right. And Laura, you are also housed now, right? Yes.
She pays her own.
Mhm. Yes. Without a subsidy.
No, that would, no state or federal assistance
Correct. She's paying it on her own.
with the children. There's no state or federal subsidies.
Mhm. And can I share, and also in the process of working, she's been with Working Hands for a while, but also in the process of getting another job. You're in the final stages of, yeah. And that's kind of the goal, is we don't put a time frame on what we do in Working Hands, or even we run multiple shelters in San Diego, and people will always ask me, well, how long can people stay with you? And we don't put a time frame on it. It's kind of, as long as you're moving forward, however much time you need to get yourself to a place where you could be safe and stable. So I don't want to have like an arbitrary expiration date and then force people to lose all the progress that they've made.
So you have a shelter here that they
We
live at?
do not have a shelter in Imperial County. I wish we did. I use the example of our programs. We do not have a
So
shelter in
okay, so
Imperial.
you're referring to San Diego, but
I-
what about
I
Imperial
was-
County?
We do not have a shelter in Imperial County.
So where are they housed? They're not housed through they're housed outside. They got housing somewhere else.
The people who got housed through Working Hands, most of them, I would have to look at my notes, 9 of the 17 were housed through rapid rehousing, which means they have rental housing here in Imperial County. 1 person was permanently housed by reuniting with their family. And then the 1 person who obtained housing on their own without a rental subsidy is Lauda. My point about shelter was, and I apologize if I made that confusing, my point about shelter is just like we wouldn't give people a time limit in working hands, or we wouldn't give people a time limit in a shelter, because everyone's situation is unique. And we want to give them as much support as they need for however long they need it. As long as they are invested in moving forward, we want to be walking alongside them and supporting them to get there. I don't want to pull away anybody's support and say your 6 months are up or whatever. That's just not, that doesn't seem responsible. So that's not how we do business.
Okay, I do have some questions. I'm going to be that person again. So I have some questions regarding the permanent. I don't know if this is going to be you and or Adriana, but I do have questions regarding the intent, the full intent of the PLHA grant fund. Is that primarily for employment or primarily for housing?
You want to answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. I could tell you what my budget looks like.
So permanent local housing allocation grant funds, we have a 5-year plan, and those, some of those activities were pre-designated by council at the time, but it's a list of different programs that are eligible that the council could consider for different activities. Activity 6 was for individuals who are at risk of being homeless or being homeless, but that can also include construction of shelters, emergency shelters, rapid rehousing. There's numerous, that's the umbrella, but there's other activities that can be included.
That would be the rental, the 6 would, does that include the rental assistance, navigation centers?
Yes.
And purchasing? That's probably another one, being able to purchase and so forth.
Yes, that is also included. It's not in that activity, but it is one. So it's, if you look at the funding source as a whole, it's for housing and those who lack housing.
Okay. The reason I'm asking that, Adriana, is because I know that she stated not putting a limit, but my question is, how long do we remain the employer?
We are not the employer.
Well, technically through funds. How long?
We are not the employer, technically. This is why this,
okay, let me redo this.
We have a nonprofit that we work with because we need that separation.
Okay, and so let me rephrase that. The monies that we're granting to this are given to individuals that, are they all homeless or at risk of homeless? Because I think I heard that a couple live with people and so forth like that.
Yes, the funding source is provided by the state to us, and then we provide it to Catholic Charities. We do not provide funding to individuals.
No, okay. Let me go to the budget then. Okay, I don't know if you have the, I'm just looking at the one that you gave me. And so I can appreciate the stories and so forth, and I do. But I'm also looking at the funding element of how this is working, and one of the first scenario forms that pages that you brought up said about the cost of homeless average being about 30 to 40,000 that we spend per individual. And so the only thing I'm looking at right now is seeing how those monies are compared to something like that. And so when we're looking at the Exhibit B on the compensation schedule, and this is where I need your clarification, because we get these, and so we review them, but this is where we ask our question.
The computer's kind of.
That's okay.
Looking up, it was item.
What page are you on, Claudia?
Here it is.
It's page 745 out of 794, at least here.
Okay. Sorry, it's at the end.
But yeah, 'cause it's,
Okay, here it is. This one, right? Is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
I think that's
So,
exhibit B. Yeah.
So on the 98,000, this is a portion that the grant is covering to pay for the personnel at Catholic Charities.
Yes.
That are working directly with the
Yes,
working hands.
this was the established budget for year one.
Okay.
Now, the amount that we received here for budget one that they requested was, the total here is 386,000.
Mhm.
Out of that, 200, I believe 26,000 has been expended because of adjustments they've made. So for example, for a portion of time, let's say there wasn't the 5 employees that were being assisted. So the costs of that were reduced. For personnel, same thing, if not all of it was billed. So the amount is right now, we're at 226,000 from the 386,428 that were originally anticipated to have cost. Does that make sense?
Yes. So then what we're looking at right now is adding another individual to work under the personnel than what's listed here.
For them, I think that's
Yes.
an organizational question
Okay.
we can ask them.
Yeah.
Because they're splitting time between employees.
Yes.
But the budget for the year is not to exceed the 98,414.
And
So
then-
how they shift their personnel,
To be
that's
able
up to
to
them,
do that.
but that's the amount that has been allocated.
Okay. And then the fringe benefits, is that for employees or for the working hands participants?
No, it includes fringe benefits for, is it for working hands or for your employees?
The fringe benefits are for Catholic Charities employees.
And then the question I have is on the meals for participants, the $71,175.
Yes.
Could you explain that to me, please?
Yes, as part of their agreement, they provide breakfast and lunch for program participants. And again, this amount was the cap amount, and where they're at right now in terms of the 386, they're at 226. So they're not even close. I don't know what the allocation looks like by different sections, but I know for a fact they haven't expended that because they haven't expended the full amount for the year one.
So the meals here are just are separate from like the day center meals?
Yes.
These are separate meals that
Yes.
they purchase?
The other items that were included were the stipends for participants and also branded clothing for the participants as well.
Mhm. No, but I want to just confirm that those
Oh.
are separate foods that they're purchasing aside from day program meals, or is that just like?
We're not purchasing separate food. I think we were just looking at, one of the things we did shift is our staffing time, because Working Hands started a little bit earlier than the day center opened. We were bringing in a cook earlier, almost 45 minutes, an hour earlier than we used to. So we were factoring that in, but it's not separate food. Everybody eats the same food. And I'm looking at, I requested our financial report and I see the food from year to date, from September 1st, 2024 to January 31st, 2026. According to our finance office, I only see less than $6,000.
Less than
So,
6,000. And so
yeah,
they're
so-
not
and you-
required to
we
come
get-
in and eat, right?
I'm sorry, what?
They're not required to come in and eat?
No, we're not going to force people to eat.
To
It's
And the
usually
reason I
something they
asked-
want to do,
Yeah.
but
I was just wondering if it was part of it, because when I was looking at the invoices, I noticed that they're paid from 8 o'clock forward. So if they're there earlier, I was wondering if they were being paid because they're being asked to be there earlier?
no,
Or,
no, if they choose not to come in until 8 and get in the vehicle, they're not required to come in at 7:30 and eat breakfast before they go, nor are they required to stay and eat lunch afterwards. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think that's where we maybe lost some people who are not as interested in case management, was that after they were done with their work time, usually what happens is people eat lunch And then they have the opportunity to meet with the case manager in the afternoon. If they choose not to do that, that's kind of where we're changing our screening process a little bit. But no, people are not required to eat. They fill out a timesheet and they sign the timesheet from the time they get in the vehicle to work until the time they get back.
Okay.
And they're paid for the hours worked out in the community.
Okay, and so well, I see the cell phone and the branded clothing. So my question is out of just the projected, okay, because I know this is not right, especially hearing some of the numbers, but I'm gonna just go based on this, the 386. How much of that is linked to the worker? And how much of that is employer and how much is that?
Well, I don't, is she looking at the same budget that you have here?
Yes, but I
Okay.
don't know, because.
Yeah,
you
I have
expended
actuals.
less-
I
yes,
have
you
actuals.
in this
So in the projected, when I look at the budget that you have, the stipends for participants was budgeted at $83,200.
Right.
The employer budgeted was, if you scroll up to the top. Oh, a touch screen. Oh, I'm too fancy. My computer does not do that. The staffing cost was budgeted at 98,414. I will tell you because I have our actuals from year to date right in front of me, and year to date, like I said, for the finance office, they ran it from September 1st through January 31st. We spent a total of, it looks to me, the way I'm reading this, it is salary and benefits. The benefits was 22,660. Salaries for the employees were 85,397. And the stipends to participants were $100,684.83. So pretty evenly split there. Actually spent more money on stipends for participants than we did on salaries for team members.
And the 168 is for the 5?
I'm sorry, what?
That's for the 5 employees?
The
168,000, you said, for 5 employees?
No, that's not what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you clarify?
The budgeted amount for you're talking about for the when you said employees, you mean the working hands participants? Yes. Okay, the working hands participants was $100,684.83.
Okay, for the 5 for the year.
Correct.
Okay.
And like we mentioned earlier, there were days, because we did have some people who maybe dropped out of the program, didn't always, so it's not that we had 5 people every single day. So if somebody dropped out, or maybe somebody called out for a couple of days, we didn't immediately replace them, and people only were paid for the time they worked.
So I guess for me, it's just, I'm going to go back to this. I know you have your numbers, but I'm going to go through this. For me, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the stipends for the participants on the numbers that I was given. Because I'm just going to go back, because that's all I've been looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at $83,200, okay? And then I'm looking, I see the operating costs as far as utilities and all that, but, and the meals, 72,000 to, feed and so forth like that. And for me, as I look at this, it doesn't look like the majority, I understand supportive services, but it looks like a lot of the money is going on supportive services instead of directly to the employee, your employee. And so I just wanted to ask you what would that be? Because if I have a number here of 386,000 and I have the stipends alone 83,000, that leaves 300,000.
Okay, so if I can respond to you, so this was the budget that we put together with a proposal. This is a pilot program. This is year 1.
Mm-hmm.
So this was our projected budget based on 0 actual experience.
Right.
And so we learned a lot. Like I said, we changed how we enrolled people. We've changed a few things after a year's experience. If I were to budget for this today, the budget would not look like this. The budget, if I were to rebudget it for assuming this funding gets renewed and we have to submit another budget, I would go back and look at our actual expenses and budget our projections based on actuals, not a guess about a program that hadn't started, which is what the budget that we're looking at here.
Okay. And I just have one more question, then my last one's for Adriana. So the 72,000 for food that you guessed and so forth, that would be a continued expense? Because my question is, let's say they weren't part of that Working Hands program, but they were being fed at the same place. Would that charge still be there if they weren't part of? Do other people, you guys charge by person or?
We don't charge the people we serve for food ever. The food is all free. So that was an estimate based on, again, no experience, how much we thought that food might cost. So if I were to budget with additional funding for a subsequent year, I would go back and look at our actual expenses, and I would project forward for the next funding cycle based on what we spent on the program and how we spent that money, on the staffing costs, on fuel for the vehicle. So all of those kinds of things, I would base it on actual. This was a projection, year one, how much we thought it would cost to implement a dream. So, yeah, I mean, if we do get refunded, we would be happy to submit another line item budget that was more closely aligned with what we think we need based on the experiences we've had since September of 2024.
And the rapid rehousing, real quick, what does that consist of?
Well, rapid rehousing is not funded out of this at all.
Oh, I'm just saying because it was noted here.
Well, rapid rehousing is how people got housed. We were asked to inform the city and the council how people who did get housed out of the Working Hands program, how were they connected with housing? So rapid rehousing, there's not one penny of funding that comes out of this contract to cover the cost of rental assistance for anyone. That's not what we're funded to do out of this fund.
Okay.
So our rapid rehousing funding comes from either the state through emergency shelter grant or through some of our HAP funding. I heard references earlier to the IVCCC. We are active now. That's where I first met you, was at the IVCCC meeting. And we applied for money that was available through the county for rapid rehousing through ESG and HAP. Our HAP funding is rapid rehousing, it's homeless prevention, rental assistance, it's our street outreach program. It funds it. We have several different pots of money through the different HAP grants, but all of the rapid rehousing funding comes from other sources. And we don't get to decide who goes into our rapid rehousing. Those people are matched through the coordinated entry system, and that is overseen by the county.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else for me?
No.
Okay.
Well, I have a question. Then you've had a year, you've been doing this for a year. Could you take a guesstimation of your bottom line, the total cost for a year?
The
It's not-
difference of the.
Your staff report
Yeah.
is probably not with me. Oh, did I take your stuff?
Yeah. Okay, so.
289?
Oh, that.
Yes. That's the remaining balance. The amount was 235,626.96 cents.
And that was our claim through December 31st or January? Because the numbers I got today, I asked for through January 31st.
And what do you?
So that's 12 months or?
They categorized it for me.
This is 12 months,
I'm
the
guessing this would be
235,600?
16 months, right?
I'm sorry.
The 12 months is total is 235,600?
It would be 16 months, right?
Yeah.
More than
Yeah.
16. It would be from September
September.
No.
1st of 2024 until probably December 31st, because our claims usually go out.
December.
Our claim
Yeah,
goes out
December.
in
It's through
That's what
December.
I thought.
Through
Okay.
December.
So my numbers are different because my numbers went through January.
Maybe 15 months,
So, yes, so
14, 15 months.
Mhm.
Just curious. So this is, Adriana, this is state money that we're the fiduciary, we have the fiduciary responsibility to,
Yes, so we receive, it's permanent local housing allocation funds, and that funding is granted to the city. And then we decide the different programs that we want to carry out with that funding.
Are there other options, Adriana?
Yes, there are other options. We are actually working on the guidelines right now. We're working with Cloudburst, which is a company that helps us create guidelines. The other program that we want to roll out is a first-time home buyer program. And then the other one that we're interested in is also a minor home rehab program. I discussed it a while back when we brought the home funding. That's the other guidelines that they're working on right now.
And how about anything to be able to work like with the, like our community relations unit and so forth like that, to be able to work with a nonprofit and be able to assist them on the streets and also do the rapid rehousing referrals and so forth?
Yes, those would be other eligible activities from, if I'm kind of reading, I think rapid rehousing is one of the eligible activities through activity 6. So yes, there's definitely opportunity to work with others. The other program that was funded through PLHA was the Jacaranda Gardens. We did a $500,000 loan. That was another item that was through the same program.
And do we have anything like that, even especially for the low income or the senior housing?
Yeah, so this funding that we have, you saw is 2.7 million. We can share with you the programs that we have, and also if you want to reallocate any of those funds towards other programs that the council feels you would like.
Okay, I have a question on this one for you, Adriana. Right now, the Working Hands individuals are cleaning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Main Street, and we just hired an employee to do that. What are the plans for that program now?
Yes, so in terms of the cleaning they do, it's like cleaning regular push brooms, helping with trash, minor cleanup. An employee for us comes in with the truck with the power washer and power washes sidewalk. They're doing much more heavy work that is needed to keep up with our downtown. We haven't, I know we were routinely doing quarterly cleanups downtown, but we haven't been doing that because we've been short-staffed. And so this new employee would assist us with more in-depth cleaning and also light maintenance around the town square. Graffiti has been rampant. This program doesn't do graffiti cleanup, so they would be doing the other more intense type work.
I think for me, I'll just close with this. I understand how important the program's been for everyone and so forth, but I looking at what I was given in the presentation that I've been studying, I feel that the cost per employee, per individual participant, I don't know what you call them, is I don't know if it's, I feel that all the other costs involved with it, the 72,000 for food and the 21%, 60, what is it? 69,000 for utilities and so forth for Catholic Charities. I don't know that I can say that it's beneficial for the participants alone or for the organization. And as I stated, it's not personal. I'm looking at the numbers I'm given again. And so that's what I'm looking at. When you have $386,000, again, based on what I'm looking at, and 83 of that money is for stipends, and 10,000 for branded clothing. I'm sorry, I didn't know they had uniforms. So that's 83, 90, 100,000 and 72,000 to feed them. I have a concern.
And I understand your concern, and I guess I would just like to, again, go back and put it into context. This was a projected budget. Those are not our actual costs. So we did not spend 71,000 on food. And I don't know, I know that you get our claims every month, you review our claims. If we need to, we can go back and kind of do a summary. This was just our internal financial report that
Yeah.
got emailed to me. We would be willing to go back and demonstrate for you where we spent all of that money. But it was not, I guarantee you that there was not $71,000 spent on food, because that's not what it says in front of me.
Yeah, I did have the opportunity to review the invoices, and the invoices, the books was dated, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, June last year or July last year to forward the book that I was given, city manager, yeah.
Yes, there's additional binders. I know city manager asked me to look, to look for one, and I gave him one. There's additional binders, all reflective of the same invoices that have been
Yeah.
shared with us, along with the back.
Right, yeah, and I was looking at that, and that's where I got my numbers from also. It was from the actual invoice that was being sent to the city and the checks that were getting sent out, right? Is that what I was looking at? So I just wanted to say that's why I was looking at this, and you know, everyone knows that solving, you know, or addressing the homelessness is one of our top priorities here. It really is. But being able, money is tight everywhere. It's also important to be able to utilize it as wisely as possible and as efficiently and effectively as possible. And I did see the checks that were given to each of the individuals and so forth. And it's, I mean, there were a number of them have been the same ones throughout that whole period, which shows stability, which is good. And it helps, you know, to house them. But when is the rotation and so forth with others, that when does that come off to help others? Because to help 5 people with that amount of money, it's a lot of money.
Well, we've served 17 people. Again, not all of them have stayed in the program. So we have 2 people who've been in the program for a long time. And I view them as successes.
Yes.
From my perspective.
Mhm.
And then the other people have cycled in and out. There are people who were enrolled in the program, got a market rate job, got housing, and are long gone.
Right.
So I don't know how to reach them to bring them here with us tonight.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think for
That's
me, there are the tangible things about getting housed, getting a job, developing a resume. And then I am a lifelong person who's always worked in social services. And for me, one of the most valuable things that I hear when I talk with Laura and Vanessa is how being in this program changed how they see themselves. And personally, I can't put a dollar value on that, because I think those are the changes that carry people forward, that make it possible for them to go on to do other things. One of them is soon to be getting another job, but you know, that would be my response.
Yeah.
So we are always cycling new people in. Like I said, we brought on an assistant manager to focus more attention on this program, so that we could do a little bit more of that, just kind of focused mentoring people along. It's a bandwidth issue for all of us. To be honest with you, part of that person's salary is not covered by any grant. It was an idea that our CFO agreed to to let me do that, because we all believe in this program. And so we are also subsidizing some of those salaries, particularly for the assistant manager, with non-contract funding, because it was that important to us to really try to take this program to the next level.
Thank you so much.
Can I ask a quick question? This is for Adriana, excuse me. Are we on the clock as far as the expenditure of this? This is a lot of information being taken in, and so what timelines are we on? because there was a question that was brought up, what alternatives do we have? And there's a question that I think that might require a little more in-depth and time to get to the bottom of some of them. Could you tell me a little bit about the timelines for this funding?
Yes, we don't have a timeline like we do with CDBG where you need to make a decision now. If council would like to make that decision at a later time, you have the time to do that.
It certainly sounds to me that there is, at least in this session, there's been more questions than answers to the best of our ability to answer them. We have a pilot program that's getting kicked off. There's a lot of unknowns. There's knowns that are coming through, a couple different avenues of information, one through this staff report, one through a book and receipts. And I'm just thinking in my thoughts that this might be something to table since we're not on a stricter timeline like that. So we can explore the alternatives, or B, have more in-depth conversation and maybe chip away a little more define what this program would actually cost to do it. And I certainly understand when you start something, it's a wild unknown. But when we start going into definitive years, we need to dial that in a little bit. So that's just my thought. I'm not sure if council has a.
I was as a person that prepares a budget, it's extremely important to have historical information to base, the budget on. Okay. When I begin my budget process, I go back to previous years, and take into consideration all the different factors that come into play, when, in terms of cost of inflation, cost of utilities and so on. Okay. As Antoinette explained several times, that the budget that we're looking at here was created based on unknowns. Okay. But now that we have more factual information and year-to-date information, then now we can go back and look at the historical information about this program and now prepare a new budget with the remaining funds for the year that's remaining under this funding source. Okay. So, this was all based on unknown projections. Okay, best guess estimates. Obviously some of these items were overstated. Okay, and so that's where that's where now the adjustments come into play because we have something to base numbers on. And so that's where those are the factors that we now have to take into consideration. And what the budget would then look like with the remaining funds for the next year if we were to proceed with the program.
Yeah, and I certainly understand using the past to help predict the future, especially in budgetary. I know that that council person, member Camarena, has done some extensive look at chipping those numbers as well. So I think that we're trying to do our due diligence. I certainly think that if we have a little bit of time, perhaps we can bring this back. And unless you feel that there is something that we're missing.
Well, from my understanding that the contract, there's a contract end date, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That was one of the things I would like to bring to council's attention. The contract expires February 20th. So that's why the date was brought tonight. You may want to consider a 90-day extension to redo this or a 6-month extension to the contract to allow time for a new budget to be brought forward, just as a thought. But there is a contract that expires in 3 days.
So an option would be to shorten the extension until such time when we could.
You have those options as well, but there is a timeline associated with action tonight.
Why are we just getting this then? The 20th is 3 days away.
Well, there was anticipated action tonight.
Well,
so the action can take place in many forms, but it's brought forward to you tonight for action.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say it again. I really do not like rushed items.
Yes.
That is very, to me, disrespectful because it pins people against the wall.
Well,
And it
just
makes
for a
me-
point of clarification for staff's purposes, this item has been brought to attention of council before. Yes, there is a contract before you tonight, but I don't think this is something that's new to council as of today, just for purposes of clarification for staff.
The actual date of expiration is, so I would, because of that, I would just suggest as a point of discussion, to do a 60-day extension to be able to bring because apparently she has numbers that none of us
Exactly.
have.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, Councilmember Camarena, didn't you attempt to make an appointment or discuss to
Yes, I
talk
did
to-
contact
to contact
Antoinette to meet and
Catholic
was never
Charities?
contacted back. I know you stated you had to contact someone else, that I wasn't allowed to go to the facility.
That's not exactly what I said. You asked to meet with me. You called when I was at the day center. And what I explained is that our board of directors has told our CEO that he needs to be informed and present before we meet with any elected officials. I also told you that we have been working with the city. Our contract is with the city. And so I reached out to our partners at the city, let them know that you requested some information. We have been very willing to, we've been very forthcoming with the city in terms of providing that information. I also, the reason I stood back up here is because I also wanted to comment on the budget. When you were talking about historical, and this was a projection for a pilot, the Day Center just celebrated its 3-year birthday. It opened on February 21st, February 15, 2023. So we're 3 years in. The other thing that's happened with all of our budgets is just shifting funding. We've ended up with funding that we did not anticipate. So while we were projecting expenses over here, if we had other money that was available to cover things like utilities and food, we used that money. So it's not like we said, okay, we're going to throw away this other money and not accept it because we budgeted for food over here. So there will always, that's part of it, is we're building a puzzle. We build standalone budgets and then we see what we end up with, and we spend based on the allowable categories of all of our funding sources.
So if I may, because it sounds like there's still a lot of information that we would like to obtain and that we can, and so there has been a suggestion or motion, or maybe not a motion yet, to extend 60 days, and that would allow council to pursue this a little bit further. Would that be okay as far as timelines, or?
That's a council decision for, as far as staff is concerned. I think the question would be, is that sufficient time for them to respond with the required information and bring back a balanced budget, given the information they have historically? But the council can take you can take many different stances. We just need an action tonight.
You stated elegantly, so would that be a sufficient time for that time?
I think 60 days
I
is
would,
sufficient.
I would propose nothing less than 90 days, to give sufficient time, to provide all of the documentation that is needed. Financial reports are not always, you can't just click and, because, if we're not at a month end, then we cannot provide, a realistic accounting for, for what has been spent and so on. So if we were to extend it to June the 30th, and that would provide us with at least another 3 months.
Well, that's
More than 3 months.
But that's, I mean.
Well, because then that would give us, that would give Catholic Charities time to produce the reports on the actual finances through June the 30th. If
we were concerned with fiscal year, reporting, I think what we're looking for is not detailed. What we're looking is, what is this program going to run, and is it money, and also we're looking at the different alternative programs that were there. So I don't know if we needed to have 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, but we're looking for a scope of information that's not really landing on some fiscal year budget. I don't know if it's 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, however you guys want to work it to provide us the information. I started here.
Yeah, and remember that council meetings are the first and third Tuesday of the month, and then the information that's presented must be provided at least 1 week before.
Okay.
And so that kind of, it narrows the window for staff. And so if you do, let's say, 120 days, then that should be sufficient to be able to carry us onto the reporting that is desired.
Okay, so we have a recommendation, or at least a consideration by staff for 120 days. Is that what I heard?
I think, yeah, I think that's enough time, right? For you? They're the ones who are going to.
Would that, I mean, could anyone entertain a motion for that?
Did you say 120 days? Okay, I will
I want-
motion to extend 120 days.
Okay, well, at this time, we have a motion for 120. I'm sorry that, and then do we have a second? For 120-day extension?
Figure that that's more than enough time. That's
Yes, I just asked Catholic Charities. They will produce this information. It's not city staff who will have their actuals. They will have all those details.
okay. Okay, I'll second it.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, before we vote as a matter of discussion, now that we have a motion and a second, I'd like to point out that this is just one of our ongoing conundrums, not to lay blame on anybody at all. The presentation was terrific, but here we get maybe an 1.5 or 2 inch packet on a Friday. Half of our staff is gone on that Friday, every Friday, because of our split days off. And as yesterday was a holiday, no staff available. This makes it, and then we're showing up here trying to make a decision. We've got 2 sets of numbers. So I'm just saying this is a horrible conundrum that I have been hate this, ever since I came on, that we need to fix, because how can we be expected to make an intelligent decision with precious little time and misinformation and it's just a discussion item. I'm so happy that we're trying to sort this out, and we will sort it out. We will sort it out, but I'm just saying this needs to be fixed. This is just one of our conundrums for our board that needs to be fixed to prevent this from happening and miscommunications and such as that. So that's all. Thank you with that.
Thank you. It's noted, and I guess we would go ahead and.
Motion passes 4 with 1 no.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Now we are, I believe, back to 9. Abraham.
I can make it very fast or very slow.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All right, the very fast version is you will see this again.
Okay.
So for now, what we're trying to do is simply approve the plans and specs for the Imperial Avenue Phase 3 project. The project is funded by $2 million, $194,115 from a grant that we received a few years ago. $537,000 is proposed from Measure D, which is our local LTA fund, and then another $530,000 from street impact fees, which is funds collected from developers. This is the estimated budget for right now. Again, until bids come in, this is just a budget. We don't know what the actual numbers will be until bid time comes in. This is a way that we leverage grants against other funding sources. So that's what allows us to get grants. And that's why we have that ability to pursue those grants, because we have this other matching funding sources. The project limits for Imperial Avenue extensions are from Dannenberg to Manuel Ortiz. This is the third phase of 4 phases of Imperial Avenue extension. The last phase will be from Valley View to McCabe. Those fundings have not been yet obtained. Just a view from Manuel Ortiz looking north. That's the road that will be constructed in the red. This is generally how it will look. Actually, this is exactly how it will look. It's 1 lane in each direction with a divider in the middle to provide for a turn lane as you approach Manuel Ortiz. And if everything gets approved tonight, when everything goes well and all the stars align, we should be starting construction in around June and later in the year, having completion. Again, like a big disclaimer, if the stars align. So with that, I'm just looking for your approval of plans and specifications for the phase 3 project of STPL 5169-063, and I'll authorize staff to release this project for bidding. Questions?
Okay, could you go back to one of the first couple slides there, please?
You'll tell me where. This one?
Yeah, so at this point, this is the potential funding sources, correct?
Yes, the grant is for sure. That's we've gone through council before
Right,
with approvals and so forth. And yes.
So, and then moving on to the next slide, please. So this funding source, whatever this becomes, this is the particular area in which phase 3 will be done. Is that entire funding source utilized in this portion of that project?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then it's my understanding that this is with Imperial Avenue, the final view of this, I see you're saying a single lane, which matches the one between Wake and Danbury.
That's correct.
Okay. But eventually the street will be at the width that it was my understanding that this would be almost identical to the entire Imperial as it went south with commercial and residential mix, behind it. The master plan was to send it all the way to Danbury at some point.
To McCabe, absolutely.
Correct.
So it's programmed to be an ultimate at 4 lane all the way down. And so the project has been designed to accommodate that, but because this is grant, the grant can only fund what we need today, and what we need today is 2 lanes.
But the street's going to be built for the 4 lane, but the 2 lane is going to be. Are we going to end up coming back and extending this thing wider at some point in time?
What we build right now will stay there, and we're basically building the east half of the road. And future development will build the west half.
And then okay.
And then we have the 4 lanes.
That's what $3 million will get you right there, huh?
Yes, and that's that's our best estimate right now. Depends on the economy and bidders, the bidding environment, how many projects are there that day.
Get you half a road.
To get you half a road.
Okay.
Correct.
Because that's all we need right now, right, Abraham?
That's all we need, 1/2 a road right now.
Okay,
Later on,
I understand that the grant's only going to allow what we can, but it almost, we're putting a footprint over a footprint on this, that your infrastructure would be, even if we only needed 2 lanes to build the full.
There was just, I guess, to backtrack, we did a master plan, if you want to call it that way, of what the 4 lanes would require in terms of right of way. From here to here, this is how much land we need. So this project already accounts for that, and we're building within that footprint, the east half of the road, basically. So what you see right now as one of the southbound lanes will be moved further to the west, and that southbound lane will be further to the west, closer to the drain in that area. So going to this area, this is Imperial Avenue south of Manuel Ortiz. That's already built, and this is just a little piece. And we're gonna build that portion, and in the future, from this white barricade to the west, we're gonna be adding lanes, more southbound lanes.
I got you. I don't want to belabor this. I wanted to confirm, because it wasn't making a lot of sense to me. I mean, I understand the dollars and that how it all lays out, but if the future requires 4 lanes and a center divider, and bounded curbs, raised curbs.
Mhm.
We know that that's going to be the case. I guess it makes sense that we could do the other half, we're doing linear versus width right now.
Correct. We're doing linear versus width, and
Okay.
the right of way has been set aside for that.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions?
Should I go motion?
Questions?
No.
Okay. With that, does anyone have a
I will
motion?
motion to approve the plans for phase 3 of the Imperial Avenue extension.
I'll second.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay.
Is it you again?
Yes.
Oh.
Number 10 with Abraham.
Number 10.
Number 10, we're moving.
All right. Good evening again, honorable mayor and council members. I forgot to read my earlier item. I do apologize. So for this item, we have received a request from Christ Community Church for diagonal parking to augment the available parking around their church. The proposal is between 5th Street and 6th Street on both Orange Avenue and Olive Avenue. I will be presenting some slides on that location and the proposal. And the parking that they're requesting extends beyond their frontage. So it not only includes the property that they're right next to, but a block over as well. For background, under the city ordinance, as a public works director, city engineer, I have the authority to go out there and approve these types of requests. However, because it has broader impacts, it's not only their frontage. I do want to get comments and feedback from council. It's not only going to affect their property, it will affect some housing, some apartments that are north of that block that they reside on. However, the church has stated that they have met with these residents, and I know Pastor Chris Dunn is here, so he can speak to that effect. And the church is proposing to front the initial cost of installing all of the required striping for this, and they have already produced drawings that we have reviewed, and it will be shown here. So the limits are, for those not familiar with the area, it's on Orange Avenue between 5th and 6th. That's where the Christ Community Church sits. They encompass quite a bit of, or basically all the southern half of the block. They have, the request is for diagonal parking to extend from Orange Avenue through Brighton and into Olive. This is both for 5th Street and 6th Street. So just for the limits, and because there's apartment complexes here, there's some houses that front in this area, and same on this side. We did want to bring it up to the council for consideration. So just to give you an idea of the streets on how they look like. On 6th Street, you find this would be in the Christ Community Church site. So the yellow area delineates the proposed locations where the diagonal parking would be installed. As you continue traveling to the north, you pass Brighton Avenue, and then this is the area again where the striping would be. Same on 5th Street. This is the Christ Community site. So on the yellow, they have that area. And then across the street from the Circle K north of Brighton, that's where the additional diagonal parking is proposed. How this looks, and this is a drawing provided by them. Now, if you want to kind of reorient yourself and you're looking north to the left of your screen, so diagonal parking would be installed or basically outlined along this side. Again, we mentioned across the Circle K, there'd be a few spots there, and we have the alley, so that's why there's vacancy, and then additional parking over here. On 6th Street, going back to Orange, we have diagonal parking, alley, some stalls here, and then a few more. And there's, I think, apartments and some residents in this area as well. So this is the general layout. Before I keep on going, do you have any questions regarding the proposed layout?
On the on the Sixth Street side, between the alleys there, you don't have any, on the Fifth, or the block between Olive and Brighton, you have, a gap there by the alley.
Yes.
Is that for visual?
That's because there's a driveway,
Yes.
so we cannot block driveways.
Mhm.
Same.
Okay, that would be the only reason. It's not anything. One of the concerns was six, in those of us who have been through the, six is kind of an artery used when you're trying to avoid a lot of traffic lights. It's a north-south, way with only really one stop sign to you get to Ross. Obviously, when it's controlled here at Orange, you know, the speeds are slower for coming up to a stop sign or, you know, progressing through it. When it gets down into this area, I mean, it's difficult to pull out of some of these diagonals and at the speeds that sometimes people get going in, you know, unfortunately in residential. That is a very busy thoroughfare, 6 is. And I don't know if that was the first consideration would be the traffic input. I don't know if fire and police have you know, looked at that for any potential issues. They may or may not. And then the second thing would be that I know that the church and Pastor Nunn has talked to the, but we don't have any feedback from residents in that area. We haven't put out anything officially. I know that, you know, why are we going to the other block? Was it just for the same purposes it was listed to provide more parking, or?
That's correct. And I'll discuss some of the benefits. You're going really into the next slides, so thank you for that. I will discuss the benefits and the drawbacks.
That was the nicest way anyone's ever told me that. Sit back and listen.
Yeah.
So some of the benefits here is obviously the obvious, the increased parking supply, right? So compared to parallel parking, diagonal parking does offer a few more stalls. During events such as during church time, there would be additional parking in the church room. And it illustrates very specifically where the parking areas are. So it provides a clear count. In a parallel parking, unless you have the cross hatches, you basically park. Sometimes maybe a car doesn't park correctly and takes 2 potential areas. So that goes away with that. The trade-offs, as you mentioned, one exactly is visibility. So the one of the issues with diagonal parking is you have to back out. So you go in and then you back out. So that's a potential rear end point right there. So that's a conflict with moving traffic, bicyclists and pedestrians, for example, as compared to parallel parking where you have a lot more better visibility. There's the idea of residential compatibility is this is a request that not only affects just the church property or the church block, but also blocks beyond in the residential. So there's that permanent change to that parking configuration in this area, which affects how the neighborhood looks or the character of the neighborhood, right? So there's now more parking in front of residences. And a big one is it's setting the precedent. That's why I'm here. I do not want to approve this as your director. I need your feedback. Because this has that potential of setting a precedent. Approval of this diagonal parking primarily to serve a single land use may prompt similar requests from anybody else. Maybe a business that's a street fronting or a downtown, a mixed use, you name it. So it's one of those questions that as a body, it's a policy decision that you need to make. Then this is ongoing whenever we resurface, whenever we have to maintain this, right? So it's the pavement markings have to be maintained by the city after the fact. So yes, the church is providing this as the initial installation. Ongoing, the city inherits this and any potential liability from somebody at rear ends or do so. Signage maintenance as well. You mentioned some valid points. Something that hasn't been studied is that I would recommend that we look at is if we do this, we might need stop signs or hire a consultant to look at whether or not stop signs are needed to help control those intersections, because you're entering now into diagonal parking from a straight shot or from parallel parking. So that transition point from parallel to diagonal maybe requires a stop sign. That needs to be looked at. Then future modification, if something changes in the future, at this point is the cities. Once it's in the street, it becomes the cities. Those are the long-term impacts that need to be put on the balance for council to decide. So that's going back and just to summarize that's why we're asking for direction as staff. Should we consider diagonal parking beyond the frontage as requested by the property? How private funding of the initial improvements should be weighed against the long-term city maintenance obligations, and any conditions, limitation council would like staff to incorporate should it be approved. So I'm here to listen to your feedback so that I can modify. There doesn't need to be an action right now. I can take your feedback and come back with additional information, or you can take an action right now. It's your policy decision. Thank you.
If I may, Pastor Nunn, would you like to answer some questions too then for us? Have you actually canvassed the neighborhood to ask
We
about?
haven't spoken to every single one, but we have with more than, half of them. So we could do that, and we can bring letters to you if we want, something along those lines, if that's something you would require.
What was the response? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's favorable. It's multi-unit or multifamily dwellings in the area, so everyone will benefit from additional parking.
I've noticed that.
It's a problem everywhere down there in the area. And so, and the way I kind of looked at it is precedence to the north, when you get closer to the commercial areas, and to your point, there's already angled parking there. The street is very wide. When you get to Orange and you go further south, the street's narrow quite a bit. And so that's why we're kind of proposing to do what has already happened to, I guess that would be to the north of State Street, right, north of State Street. So we're trying to do the same thing closer to this direction. And so, we've tried to mitigate parking as best we can down there. We built a building that seats, 1,100 people. And, I think you tried to warn us about this when we first built it. And so it's been quite an issue. We recently went to 2 services even in order to try to help mitigate parking issues so that we could fit more people and service more people and serve more people. But this would, add between 30 and 40 spots, which would be a huge benefit to not just the church, but just even the families around in the area to be able to find more parking. So, yeah, and I did get prices already. I got one price, just under $15,000 for the striping. And, we're willing to pay for that. And if we need to maintain that, painting that, we're willing to do that. If that needs to, you guys can decide when that needs to happen. So, somewhere around $15,000, which, that's a huge benefit to us because it's a lot cheaper than having to buy a property around there and bulldoze it and then pave it. And, in order to try to add parking.
You already have a block.
We do. We need a little bit more. It's incredible. The space is always at a premium. If you come to our church during a week, there's something happening in every building almost every night of the week. So we have a great facility. We actually need more space.
You could have levels right in between there where you.
Yeah. Like a parking structure. Is that what you mean?
I would say.
Oh, yeah. That's probably going to cost quite a bit.
So I appreciate the fact that is what you guys are trying to accomplish. Obviously, the bigger picture is the impact to the community.
Sure.
They're for you now until you put a stop sign that slows them down.
Yeah,
which might have a negative connotation, but and then the safety. And for that reason, for me, I would certainly like to get the feedback of our public safety, the feedback or any report that supports that, because I think that there's a certain vicarious liability that will come with doing that. Instead of this being a city-driven project, this was more of a private-driven, and so we want to make sure that we are checking all the boxes and doing it all right. Safety and input by the community, as you are a part of that community.
Oh, sure, absolutely, yeah.
Would be paramount. I think that, at least from my stand, I would like to see that we basically get all the prints on this, and that we can encapsulate that in a report saying that we've done our due diligence and we do have that input, we do have that support, we do have a traffic, not maybe even a formal traffic study, but at least something that by someone who is an engineer or to that says that this is not going to be a concern, or yes, we do need stop signs.
Is there data? Is there data for the portion to the north of State Street? Because I mean, it's there.
So I think that
may
the
be.
question is whether stop signs on the north of State Street, there's a stop sign at every block. So that controls speed by its nature. So there's a stop sign at State, Main, and Broadway, and that's the limits of the diagonal parking. There's in this location here, there's really no stop sign between Orange and I believe the first one is at that State Street.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. I think that's a valid point that we should, similar to what we've done with Central Union High School, with the stop signs around it, with the stop sign at Ross, or the stop sign, Aurora, where we've done an evaluation and say, all right, do we need to do something in addition to just the striping for safety? So we could request one of those studies and to see if we need a stop sign in this area.
I think that you bring up a very valid point on Heil, where you're talking about between Wilson and Central, where you went from a parallel to a diagonal. And then, of course, have we had any issues from that? Did we see an increase of collisions or complaints, speeds, that type of stuff?
In that area, it benefits from an additional. So what we did to mitigate that is you have actually a through lane that doesn't receive the backing up of the traffic. And then you have like a stacking lane where the parent drop off. There's actually 2 lanes. One of them serves as the backup. So it's almost always clear. So that mitigates the backup.
Wow. I've driven that street and I had no idea there was 2 lanes.
There's 2.
Because you drive in the middle.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm glad police wasn't there. Okay, well, thank you. I mean, now, Council,
I have a question regarding the potential, concerns about the parallel. It's the same as on Main Street, right? Is that the same, or is
Yes, so
do we
this
have
is-
have we had episodes, a lot of crashes or stuff because of the diagonals on Main Street? Or
The difference is the
State?
speed in this
Okay.
case. So Main Street is very narrow. It's narrow, invites you to drive slower by nature. That's kind of one of the it's called a road narrowing or road diet. On that is this. That's a visual limitation. It makes you go slower. It's more crowded, taller buildings. You naturally go slower as a driver. This area is very, very wide, unobstructed. There's nothing high around you. So that's why people feel more comfortable at speed. There's greater visibility. So now you introduce that added speed with the diagonal, it needs to be looked at.
I was going to make the same comment that on Main Street, downtown Main Street, we have diagonal parking on both sides of the street. And that's been for quite a while now.
It's just a matter of speed.
Where were you considering putting a stop sign?
That's for the consultant. One obvious or potentially obvious location, I would say at the transition point at Olive, because it's a change in parking configuration or lane. Even the yellow center lane will not match at this point. The stop sign would probably be very beneficial here. I don't know if Brighton will require one. It may or may not, but I'm pretty sure that Olive might need one.
Is that on both sides, Abraham?
To be a 4-way stop. So Olive right now stops at Olive, and so but 5th Street continues to, for example.
Abraham, my concern is what you pointed out, Brighton and 5th and Brighton. What will that do to the visibility? If you're at the corner of 5th and Brighton heading east, it's just like the visibility, will it be obstructed?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just like, I travel through there quite often, so that's why as I was reading through all this material, I was picturing things in my mind, in terms of the safety, because as it is. There's even some intersections as you're going along Brighton where I have to scoot up in order to see, and even that's with the parallel parking. You know, so that's my concern there, is those areas that you come to a corner and your vision is obstructed because of the diagonal parking. You know,
So, yeah, so with basically a vehicle would need to keep up, and we've had situations where you end up almost with a double stop. You stop here and then almost stop again in the front, right? So I think that you're correct, these intersections need to be looked at a little bit further, perhaps. Maybe that's the recommendation I'm getting, to look at these intersections for visibility and.
Just look at from a safety standpoint. I will tell you, Pastor Nunn, that it's funny how parking lots in churches are. We sit in church and we're all being good until we get into the parking lot. And then it's a mad dash for everyone and cutting people off and all that stuff. So I understand the need to have some more area around here. We just want to make sure that the rest of the community is okay with this, and then also the safety standpoint. So it sounds like just something maybe come back, unless my colleagues have something that's that we can do a little bit more into this and come back with an actual recommendation based on those thoughts today.
So this is being presented as an encroachment permit from the city because they're trying to do the work, right? So as engineering, the feedback that I'm receiving now, reached back to this church, Pastor Hanan, requesting that study similar to what we did for other stop signs and locations, and actually at Central Union High School, we did the same type of exercise. And so they would have to resubmit that to us. Once we have that, we can come back to council with a full picture.
How long do you think that would take, Abraham?
It takes a few months.
Well, Pastor Nunn, could you take the podium also, just share that? When did you start this project and when did you start applying for this?
When was it?
Nunn?
This is like last April. So it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. So it's kind of been in limbo because Abraham wanted to bring it to council. So we've been kind of waiting for a little while for an answer on this, just kind of patiently waiting. We got the plans done, thousands of dollars to get this drawn up just like this. We're not asking for any money. We're asking to do it ourselves, to do the work ourselves.
I'm just saying we're coming up on a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not going to cost us anything.
Right.
Let's go back to the Easter earthquake, which destroyed the first building that was there, the original building, the Presbyterian church. It was, right?
Right.
You had an option at that time.
Yeah, we did. We had somebody that was willing to donate property on the outskirts of Imperial, and we would just have relocated the entire facility. But we had such an impact in our community there. It's a very low-income community. We have families that come. A lot of kids walk to Awana programs in Sunday school. We pass out groceries every Wednesday or food every Wednesday that we get in partnership with Food Bank. 150 people lining up down Orange Avenue, right? We have our kitchen with the Mission Soup Kitchen on Fridays. None of this is funded. We didn't ask for any kind of funds from anybody, right? It's all funded by the church.
Exactly.
So and really what's that?
But you've also bought a lot of the properties
We
that
have.
you border.
We've bought some properties around there. We work very closely with New Creations.
And what have you done with them?
We've converted those to transitional housing. So when the students finish the program, New Creations, we have a place where they can move into while they get a job and they get settled, and they can stay there until they can get on their own. And so we've had lots of couples that have gotten married and moved out, and they have their own places now, and then we bring in the next person. And so it's been really healthy. We actually have one on Olive. We just purchased one on Brighton, and we have some cottages on Orange, and another actually set of apartments that we're converting right now just to the west of our parking lot, which is catty-corner for the church.
Yes.
We have permits for this. We're remodeling that to make that into our women's facility. So it's going to be a bedroom or a place for 14, maybe 16 women, and then there'll be 2 transitional apartments behind that. There's a 2-story where when the women finish, then they'll be able to go and have a transitional home.
So on your properties, you have a women's home and a men's home. Would you hazard to guess how many people have been through those homes?
So established in 1995 or 4. And in that time, we just had a banquet. We did the numbers, we pulled the numbers, 6,000 students have gone through New Creations Men's and Women's Home in that time since 1994.
That's a lot of changed lives.
A lot of changed lives, yeah.
And like you, as you said, that was a really, oh gosh, I don't want to say something ugly, but that was a really rundown area.
It was, yeah.
And you had a chance to leave.
Yes. Yeah, we had a chance to leave, but we decided we wanted to stay and invest in that area.
How much have you invested?
Just when we redid the building after the East earthquake, 4.2 million is what it cost to build that sanctuary.
Yeah.
So we got an SBA disaster.
So
relief loan
this
for
is
that.
a problem. It's a good problem, more space because you're growing.
I'm so thankful to have these problems.
Yes.
I'm so thankful to be here to
Good
ask you for
problem.
parking.
But I just
right?
want to say I don't think, okay, it would be really hard, really hard. I mean, you've given us a lot of numbers and we could spend even more time, but it's late.
Actually, I have some, did you pass those out?
Yes.
Yeah,
we
I
have-
gave
we
a
have lots
folder.
of
You could each take that. Again, I know it's late.
Yes.
We don't need to go through the whole thing, but
I'm
there's a
just
lot of
saying, it would be
information there.
really hard to quantify what you've done for that area of our city in a
thank you.
big
Yeah, I
way.
appreciate that.
A men's home, a women's home, ministries every day of the week. So the parking is largely going to be Sundays. I don't think Wednesday night is a parking issue.
We still have, no, we have enough parking on Wednesday
Okay,
nights.
so it's basically Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Okay, so that's a very different traffic pattern on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm willing to do what you ask to try to
Okay.
move this ball forward, but it has been over a year. And I know it's been a very different ask that we're asking. And we've just kind of been biding our time. And, Easter, of course, that's when, we really need the
Yes.
parking by, but that's,
Exactly,
that's
exactly,
very,
exactly.
that's right around the
Exactly.
corner.
Yes.
Pastor Nunn,
So,
did
yes.
you have any negative feedback from the community?
No, I haven't heard any negative feedback. And
Okay.
I can go and get letters if
No,
I
I'm
need to,
just
but
asking
yeah.
because I'm sure everybody's for it because I remember when we did the parking and right there by Wilson.
Mhm.
At first, people were kind of like, oh, but then once it started happening, then they were all for it.
Wow.
It was very nice. So I'm just asking.
Yeah. Yeah, so parking is an issue down there. There's a lot of
Exactly.
multifamily units. And so
Exactly.
people are walking
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
get home.
Yes.
They're walking quite a
And you actually
ways.
have a transit that buses people to,
Yes, we are so blessed because the city, when we applied for a permit, the city graciously afforded us a reciprocal parking agreement. And so we have access to the city lot, which is behind Circle K across the street from the old post office pavilion. And so when we were at one service, I think there's 102 or 104 spots in that parking lot. And we were using probably 90 of those spots when we were at one service. Now we've gone to 2 services. And so we're only using about 40 of those spots per service. So
and you have
it's-
shuttles that run
and
people
then we
back
run a
forth.
shuttle back and forth on
Right.
Sundays, right? 2 shuttles, actually. So
2
one
shuttles.
one waits while the other one's dropping off. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're,
So are you, I'm sorry, are you looking to, and I apologize for the time, that this.
Yeah, I know you guys need to get home.
No,
No.
not tonight.
your
I'm-
time,
Yeah.
the year that you have invested in this.
Right.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you that, we meet twice a month.
Yeah.
So when it comes up, it comes up. Today it came up.
Sure.
I don't know why we're not maybe here sooner, Abraham. There might have been other things on the thing. For me, and I appreciate every bit of it, and I hope that you get it. I just want to ensure that the safety factor has been looked at and basically approved for us, for me personally.
Well, we want to be good neighbors. So
No,
whatever needs to
I'm
happen.
sure. I
Yeah.
think that's been established.
Yeah.
That you guys are excellent neighbors, and I'm sure that the community would love to support this. But again, moving blindly into, let's do it and hope nothing happens. I can't. I need to at least see something that, okay, if we were to do it, we need to consider A, B, and C, or you know what, just as it's drawn, we can move forward. But I need something like that to feel comfortable about moving this forward if I was doing it. Now, if you have if you want to bring it forward, then we can certainly do that. But
I'm willing to do whatever you guys
no,
ask.
I,
So
I appreciate that. I want to make it very clear that it's not to hinder this project. It's to ensure that it's done in the manner that.
Sure.
So if I may, Mr. Mayor, in order to expedite this, could I suggest that we make a motion and second and vote with a contingency on the safety project so that it doesn't have to come back to us again if we could expedite this?
So how would we be notified that it was, let's see. if
Our
Abraham-
Madam Counsel, could we ask our legal advice?
So there's no actual, there's no action on this tonight. There's
We wanna make
direction.
action.
So there's direction, right?
Well, I'd like to hear from our legal counsel.
I was consulting on something else. Can you repeat the question? I apologize.
Can we make a motion, make a motion and pass this contingent on a safety study so it doesn't have to come back to a council meeting again?
Yes, but I would encourage you to define that a little bit more. Do you just want the safety study done and
Oh, no,
that's
no, an
it?
approval, I mean, an examination of a safety study that would satisfy the council individually, whatever would take to do that. Just trying to avoid another 2-week wait if we could, or whatever we could work out. That's
You
all I'm
know,
asking.
as a council member has to make a decision on public safety, I'm not comfortable voting on this tonight until a safety study is completed.
That's fine. I mean, this is our opportunity
Mhm.
so I appreciate that.
Abraham, is there, like Mayor Crankshaw, I don't know about the waiting period that it took, but we're here now. Is there a way that this study could be done expeditiously?
So it's up to the applicant now, because it's not a city-funded project, it's completely out of our control. So if we don't control what consultant he goes to, just to clarify my comment about months.
Mhm.
If we use our consultant, my experience has been that it takes them about 2-3 weeks to issue a proposal, another 4 or 5 weeks to actually do the report, and that's where I said like a couple months. Now, if they have a private a traffic engineer or somebody else that they can do it faster, of course. There's no action here tonight, and we're just looking direction. And maybe I can suggest a direction that what I'm hearing is if the safety factors are addressed on the stop sign and so forth, that this is a go. But if I'm incorrect in my assumption there and saying, you know what, this is going to result in a stop sign at Brighton and Olive, and because that's a safety result, and I want to have a discussion, come back to council, then maybe that's a direction, come back to council until once you have additional information so we can look at it. So there's 2 options there. So the first one is, I like the concept, do whatever needs to happen to make it safe, or I want to see first what makes it safe, and then I'll tell you if I approve it or not.
So I'm not, do we have a traffic engineer?
We do not.
We don't employ.
In-house, no.
a
We
traffic-
contract.
Yes.
Okay. And then I guess in my mind, and maybe it's getting spun out, I was looking for police and fire. I was looking for, and I thought we had an in-house traffic engineer that could look at this and say, look, if you were to do that now, if we have to go that other route, the bottom line is we need to do whatever mitigation that needs to be done to make it a safe thing. I wanted to go, I'm in support of it, but as Councilperson Marroquin said, it is very difficult, especially since this topic has been brought up. Without that, I think that we are vulnerable in some sense. I do want this to move expediently through this process. It has been, it sounds like pretty painful time that it's taken to get to here. But if we can help in any way make this, get it across the finish line, then that would be, if you're looking for direction, at least my direction, and then obviously the rest of the council, we would like to make that happen. But we do need to be mindful of the bigger picture. So.
Absolutely.
I agree with what Mayor Crenshaw said. If there's anything we can do to make, yeah, expedite this and.
I'll
because of
set
the
up a
wait.
meeting, maybe even tomorrow, and share some information on traffic engineers that we've used, and his engineer might have other traffic engineers. We don't care who it is. And then that way we can come back with consideration on what this restriping will do in terms of intersection safety at 6th and 5th along the intersections of Olive and Brighton.
Well,
Was that?
the fact that you have this done is going to be a little bit of a time saver as well, because they'll be using this.
Okay.
Good.
So,
Good.
yeah, I have direction to come back. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Nunn. Oh, well, I don't see him in the room, but Mr. Rodriguez had a blue slip
For what?
for this topic.
Oh, he left.
I don't want to forget. Okay.
There's a chat.
Now we're in 11.
11.
Mayor Crenshaw, in our norms and procedures, we call for to convene the meetings at 9 p.m. I'm not advocating for that, but what I am requesting is if we're going to continue, which I do think we have at least one more item that's time sensitive that we would like to have heard, I would suggest taking a vote for council and get approval of council to proceed past the 9 p.m. deadline, just to cover ourselves for stepping outside of the norms.
Okay. Can I get a motion to proceed beyond the norms for this particular meeting?
I'm good with it. Let's move on.
Okay. that's a
I would
motion.
A
make
second.
this motion, yes.
Councilmember Carter,
Yes.
Councilmember Alves,
Yes.
Councilmember Marroquin,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Camarena,
Yes.
Mayor Crenshaw.
Yes.
Motion
Thank you, Mayor.
passes 5-0.
All right, good evening. Again, you will see this back again.
We're going to take a half-hour break. And then we'll
So this is actually very exciting. It's another grant that we have, another 3.4 million. So if you're keeping tabs, we're like at 6.7 million or something like that at this point. For this is a target airshed grant through the Imperial County Air Pollution Control District. This grant was received in 2020, applied for in 2021, and here in 2026, barely getting going out there to get it built. So it does take some time. There's quite a bit of design. The grant that we pursued was to pave 30 alleys in the city of El Centro. Here's a map in front of you of the proposed alleys, generally between 4th Street and 12th Street, and north and south of Adams Avenue. So right now, these alleys are unpaved, and because of the grant, as traffic goes in, there's dust. A lot of these areas are slated for multifamily with primary access points from the alleys as to help it with the frontages along the main street. So this is a great improvement when it rains, for dust, for all kinds of reasons. Paving alleys is a good thing. So on an aerial, this is a partial view of the alleys that are being proposed. And so yes, as backup, so we contracted for one of our on-calls from Nicholas Engineering to perform the plans and the specifications. Being that this is existing work, that there's a lot of utilities, that there are a lot of posts, power lines, and so forth. It took a while on the topo and the surveying to get the plans done. So now we just received the plans and specs on January 29th of 26, so just a couple of weeks ago, and we're here tonight to approve plans and specifications and authorize to go to public bidding. So if all goes well and all the stars align, we will start construction in May, and we expect to be done with this project in August. This is one of the presentations that APCD staff stopped by a couple meetings ago to remind us of this grant. So this is us moving forward with that grant as presented. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve plans and specifications and authorize staff to release for public bidding. Again, once we come back with bid numbers, the numbers are tentative at this point. there's a lot of unknowns on this project because of the location of where they're at. So we hope that bids come in favorably, and we'll have to build a probably hefty contingency on this one just to handle what's out there. So with that, motion to approve plans and specs.
So I would like to motion to approve the Tag Alleyway Park, paving project. You know, as a resident that lives, that has an alley and that's paved, I can tell you the benefits of having a paved alley, and, you know, it's a second. And I think, you know, addressing, you know, the areas that don't have the paved is spot on. So thank you.
Yes.
You know,
I'll
so-
second.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay, jumping back to item number 13, 13, 14, and 15 will be consecutive. That will need action. I will be presenting those. Everyone received their packets. I went through the, this is a mayor's recommendation appointment, personnel appeals board for one unscheduled term ending on 2027. This is a vacant spot. So this is not actually replacing anyone. There were, I believe, two for, can I, what's that? Item number 13?
Okay.
Is it all right or permissible to do 14 and 15 as kind of a collective on this? I know that we would have to do, I would like to speak with them and then we can vote on them separately. Would that be all right?
They have to be done individually. You can speak to.
All of them and then vote?
Yes, and then you vote individually. Yes.
Okay, and so the reason I wanted to speak to all of them is that we had two candidates that prioritized their desires to, in a 1, 2, and 3 category. Kenneth Gregory and Cassandra Gregory. And then we had another individual, Jose Carvalho, that also itemized 1, 2, and 3, but very specific, was just was on the Library and Community Service Board. That was the only one that he really, I'm sorry, that was the one he selected. So based on that, if you guys can go through it, unless you want, and we can have comment about their application. I do have a recommendation. I don't know if do I do that after?
You can after, you can.
After we have a
ask the
conversation. Okay.
Council for their opinions, yes.
Yes, thank you. So if you've had a chance to look at that, I can, I selected 3 in the order in which they selected, and it would be 1 for each one of those boards. And so with that, I'd like to get you guys' input, or I can tell you where I was going to appoint them to, and then you guys can provide input. How would that be?
Tell us what you think.
So Kenneth Gregory, I would be selecting, or I would be recommending for the Personnel Appeals Board, Jose Carvalho for the Library and Community Service Board, and Cassandra Gregory for the Friends of El Centro Community Service Foundation. So if we're good, then I would like to make, or we can make a motion on item number 13. For Kenneth Gregory to be appointed to the Personnel Appeals Board.
I'll so move.
I'll second.
We have a second.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 14, Jose Carvalho to be appointed to the Library and Community Service Board. Motion?
I'll motion for that.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. And then item number 15, Cassandra Gregory to be appointed to the Friends and El Centro Community Service Foundation Board.
Yes, I'd like to motion to appoint Cassandra.
I'll second.
Motion passes 5-0.
With that, we will move into, correct, we're going to move into the council members' reports. Councilmember Carter? Carter, would you like me to start?
If you could start the other way, please.
Markey?
Yeah. So, let's see, since our last meeting, I was in attendance. I did attend some community events that were not related, to the city in support of MANA, the Latina Women's organization. So they had a membership mixer, so I went to that. And was also in attendance at the Air Show Gala, which is always such a nice event. It's an opportunity for us to get a little, dressed up and be out mingling with the community. And I was at the Hope Bell Carrot Festival parade and festival. So, that was very well attended. I'm just amazed at how much the parade has grown and how many people were in attendance. I mean, they had over 100 entries in that parade. And so the vigilantes were there coordinating all the effort. And so lots of festivities going on in the park and out on the street. And the best part of it all was when they brought the vegetables in to sell, because they always have the fresh picked produce that is on the float in the parade. So, that was the extent of my report. So
Thank you very much. Councilmember Ellett?
Sure. On the 10th, I attended the last Citizens Advisory Committee for Centinela Prison, and we basically try and assist with guaranteeing the rights of the prisoners and their fundraising efforts and how the money is spent, things like that. So we do that, and we had a really successful program this last summer. But also, this meeting was brought up that at the Centinela prison, they have a good deal of programming. It's a big word, but that includes school, education, trades, a lot of different things. And their goal for everyone there is a 9th grade education to begin with. If you have to have the 9th grade education to go on into this programming that's out there. So once you do that, there is, IVC has several classes offered at Centinela State Prison, and far more than that is San Diego State has many more classes offered out there at Centinela. So it's a very well-run programs. The recidivism rate for someone that has a BA once they leave prison is 5%. So they're doing a very good job what they do. And so I'm just proud of them. Just a big shout out to them. The other thing, the other meeting, I went to the airport on Wednesday, the 11th, and being on that commission as well. There was to be a meeting. Very few people showed up, but there was a jet in the on the tarmac, and it was a 36 jet. It's called a Contour, and it's they've taken like 6 seats out to make it more comfortable. It is the largest airplane that can utilize that airport, and they are planning on offering services here weekly, and I don't know how many times a week, but weekly, several times. Transportation to LAX, Vegas, and Phoenix. And from there, you can go anywhere in the world. So they can if you go to Contour and buy a ticket to, you know, anywhere in the world, you can go through them. They're connected with all the other, many other, they have more agreements than anybody else does with American, JetBlue, and so on and so on. It's just an incredible opportunity for us. And I took one look at the JetSets. We can't, you know, our community can't support that, but they take advantage of the subsidies that are given them for essential air services. So this is going to be available to us. I was very impressed. Gil Rebollar was there, and he's from the County Airport Commission. So he was asking a lot of legal questions to the CEO was there of the company and answering all our questions. So it's very impressive as well.
So could we do a test run to Vegas or?
Isn't that's the other airline that's proposing to provide service to the Imperial County residents? Okay, so they're not, unfortunately, they're not a shoo-in, you know, so they're still competing against the other
Yes.
airline that's currently providing the services.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
there's about 3 or 4 of them already that have submitted some type of proposal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they certainly have
Yeah,
an
they
advantage.
just wanted to showcase their,
They certainly did.
they wanted to showcase their planes and advocate, you know, for
Support.
the selection, yeah,
Yes,
for them to
right.
provide the services here, so.
Yeah, that's all of my report.
Very nice, thank you. Councilmember Carter?
I attended the Women's Caucus meeting on Zoom. We're preparing for our September in-person at our Cal City event. And just getting to know each other online. It was very nice, very nice. The Air Show Gala, I attended that as well. A lot of people attended. It was a very nice event. The ceremony for outgoing mayor, definitely thank God first. And then huge thank you to the staff and to my family and friends. The love and support didn't go unnoticed. And then also we attended the Senior Wellness Health Fair at the mall. Very nice. It was a big event. A lot of seniors out there. Very, very nice event. And I'm going to ask the city manager if he'll speak about the encampments that are by the railroad tracks, because I've been getting a lot of calls about that. So he'll speak about that. But I do want to do since this is Black History Month, and we did lose one of our giants, I do want to give like a little shout out to him. We pause today to honor the life of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., a voice for justice, faith, and action, his leadership in the civil rights movement for the community. From the pulpit to a strong public figure, he was a 2-time presidential candidate that gained his wings at 84 years old. His name will stay printed in the sand of time. He was known as freedom fighter for his unwavering dedication in fighting racial injustice. Jesse Jackson's voice gave hope. His leadership opened doors that had been closed and forced eyes to be open that were determined to stay shut. He shaped public policies and changed laws. He spoke up for our overlooked around the world community. His memory will be remembered and honored. His favorite saying was, "Keep hope alive." And my dad stood on his shoulders, and he had in his man cave, he had his picture on his wall, and it said, "It's times for us to turn to each other and not on each other. I am somebody." So I just wanted to give that out, but thank you. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Same thing, attended the Navy Gala. That was very nice to see the awards given to our men and women that earned it. Also attended the senior fair, and there was a lot of people there. I was happy to see our firemen representing the city there. And then just as a FYI, on Thursday, I have the privilege of being voted in as an executive member for the Imperial Valley Continuum of Care Committee for the Homeless Task Force. So hoping to be able to utilize that to help our needy and disadvantaged individuals live their lives with dignity and respect. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I do have a couple mentions. Before I start though, I'm a fairly new on the council, although I'm starting to figure it out. I do want to apologize to Councilmember Carter. In our special meeting, although the staff was wonderful and stuff, I failed to provide you the time to address what looked like a family reunion. But certainly a lot of people, well-wishers that wanted to come out here, and that was an oversight. I again apologize. I know that you had the opportunity outside, but it would have been ideal. I don't know how I overlooked that, but I do apologize. And it was completely just, yeah, your next go around, no problem. For the mayor's mentions, the 2026 Mardi Gras Parade and Street Fair, the city of El Centro invites you to the community to celebrate Mardi Gras 2026 with a series of festive events downtown El Centro. Mardi Gras King and Queen coronation ceremonies honoring King Jaime and Queen Viviana Hano? Did I say it right?
Honnold.
Why I can't say that. Anyhow, that will take place on Thursday, February 19, 2026. I do want to say that they are an excellent couple. I'm so happy for them to be selected. The celebration continues on Saturday, February 21st with the Mardi Gras Light Parade Street Festival from 5 to 9 downtown El Centro, featuring a parade beginning at 6, live entertainment, food vendors, games, family-friendly activities. Residents and visitors are encouraged to attend and be a part of the signature community celebration. Look at to our social media pages for more. Mario, that sounds just like what's going to be on our social media. So
and can I add that don't forget that the Friends of El Centro Community Foundation is going to be selling Julian apple pies at the street festival. So come and visit us. Okay, it's a fundraiser for youth activities throughout the city.
Excellent. And then also the City of El Centro's Day at the Ballpark, which will be the Padres for those Dodger fans. But City of El Centro invites the community to attend a day at the ballpark. San Diego Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers Saturday the 27th at 540 Petco Park, San Diego. Limited number of tickets are available. This is how long it's been since I got into the ballpark. They told me about these tickets, and I told them, give me 10, because I thought they were $16.30. When I was told what the total was,
Dream on.
it's been a while. So, they're available at $163 a ticket. We're in field section 120 and will be sold on a first come, first served basis. Tickets may be purchased by cash or check to the City of El Centro Manager's office. And look at our social media page for that information. And then finally, I would like to say that we had made some progress last council meeting. We have, and I'd like to thank Mario for doing the information, and Council Person Camarena, our Veterans Wellness Committee. We are putting together a group of individuals. We have 16 contacts that we will be looking at to set our first meeting, hopefully in the first week of March, maybe, and then seeing how we can really get some traction on this. It certainly doesn't want to be just a committee to have a committee. We really want to have stakeholders in on this so we can really reach the people that need to be reached, that want to be reached. So with that, that's all I have. I know that we have our city manager report.
Yes, so I'll first address the railroad property and concerns with encampments along properties throughout the city of El Centro that are associated in close proximity to the railroad tracks. I think it's important for our residents to know that railroad property belongs to the federal government. It's not for a lack of desire or ability for us to go in to clean up the encampments. We've been asked to stay off of the federal property. We've actually been prohibited from entering into that property to clean up those encampments. Myself and Mayor Crankshaw have had conversations with Union Pacific Railroad. Our code enforcement is in constant contact with them as our community relations unit. In an effort to keep these areas clean, they have informed us that they have a limited budget, that their ability to come to our area of the country is based on budget and manpower. And unfortunately, we're somewhat lower on their list than what we would hope to be. And it has been a real struggle for us to get the assistance from Union Pacific Railroad in cleaning up these encampments. And I say that because our community deserves better. We recognize that. Council recognizes that. All of our staff recognizes that. And the attempts are there on council's behalf. The request comes in almost weekly from a council member saying, hey, we have a new encampment that popped up. The requests go out to code enforcement or our community relations unit, only to find out that it's on federal property that we've been asked to stay off of. There's obviously costs associated with cleaning these up, and we understand that. The issue is not germane to the city of El Centro. It follows cities up and down the state of California. This is just one of those issues that we are struggling, even after many, many conversations and many, many years, to get compliance and a swift resolution. They spend about 2 or 3 cleanups a year in our area. They do a great job when they are here, but unfortunately, as is the nature, they're very transitory. So you clean one area up and another one pops up in a different area. I just want to assure the residents and citizens and business owners that have to see these as they, drive to their children to school or drive past them on their way to home from work or on their way to one of our local shopping or eatery establishments, that we're aware of this and we're making every effort possible. Some things are just simply out of our control. And I know that may seem like an excuse to others, but we have to follow, just like every other city in the nation, we have to follow federal laws and guidelines. And when the property belongs to theirs and they've given us direction, we have to follow those directions. So I hope that covers some of the
Thank you, I appreciate
some of the issues regarding railroad properties.
So we have to stay off, but the problem can stay on their property.
You see the irony there, sir.
I do. Do we have any agreements in place that talks about with the railroad at all?
So we have some ordinances that refer to the stoppage times on tracks within our city, traffic blockage and everything else. I will tell you, I believe they're in compliance with them, but even at times when they were not, if you try to cite a conductor, good luck with that as well. It's very difficult for us to take actions in that manner.
You actually don't have to cite it. Could we just put a car on the track?
I don't know that we have a towing facility that would be able to tow
or
a train, but there are certainly other we're trying to handle this to the best of our ability in a manner that is respectful to our community, but also to the railroad as well. It seems like we are more eager to get to that point than they are at this point in time.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to belabor this more, but are we only speaking to railroad police?
No, we've contacted the railroad. We've contacted railroad police. We've even brought it up to some of our elected officials. So we've taken a couple different approaches to this. We're not giving up, but the progress is just extremely slow.
But thank you for informing the community, because they're really concerned, because it seems to be the word's getting out. So more and more are coming because they know that we can't touch them. So it's just, the community needs to understand that it's not our jurisdiction.
And our goal is to reach out to them and assist them in finding housing elsewhere, or rehoming them, or realigning them with family members in areas where that's possible. Unfortunately, there are those individuals that just care not for that to occur. So I want to stress that it's not for lack of a desire from staff or from council. It's a lack of resources at the federal government level. So I've been told that prohibit them from getting out here as frequently as we request.
Thank you.
And to that extent, I have a couple things. The mention of the Padres tickets being available at the city manager's office. The checks are not payable to me, please. And Mike, you cannot scalp the 10 tickets you bought.
So we can scalp at $163.
Just a couple quick things. I've been working after Councilmember Camarena brought it to my attention, very closely with other cities in the state of California on the Bradley Burns e-commerce discussions. I've been in contact with our representatives from Cal Cities. I've spoken with President Marquin and Councilmember Camarena on this. I've spoken with our representative of Cal Cities in many different levels. There is a meeting this week that's occurring in Berkeley, California related to this. And this is one of the items on the agenda. There is a contingency, very large contingency of about 40 cities in the state of California that will be in attendance. And we have signed with the mayor's opposition letter going forward. And I've signed another memo in opposition today for them to be able to take to Cal Cities, and more to come on that, because it's something that's just starting to occur. It is not in the form of legislation yet, but it could have some pretty large impacts on our economy that are unintended and I think ill-willed by some. So I'll report back and continue to keep council up to date on that. I attended some funding opportunities with Senator Schiff and Padilla for the fiscal year 2027 CDS appropriations, looking for some additional funding for the city in a number of different areas. Some great information, and this afternoon I received some additional follow-up on that. So I'll be working with staff to see what funding fits our needs and what funding fits the priorities of council. And then this coming week, I have a meeting with SCAG, ICTC, and we have our Imperial County City Managers Association meeting. So we'll be discussing a number of issues at these that I'll report back to council at a later date. And then lastly, I hear council in regards to the packets and the limited amount of time you have to read. I think I shared with a couple of you this morning, I don't see the entire packet. From what I can see in the system, I only see 2 pages out of 700 sometimes. So we're going to work to address that. I spoke with, I texted Norma real quick, and we're going to meet this week to discuss moving up our deadlines to see what we can do as staff to try to get those packets to you a week in advance. It will put a little more onus on staff, but I'm confident with the quality of people we have, we'll be able to work on that. So that is my commitment to do work on that in the coming weeks, so we can avoid some of this as well.
Thank you, Robert.
And with that, that's all that I have. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, staff. I know it's been a late night, and I'm not going to make it later. With that,